for the moment withdrawn. And this is Gavel to Gavel, WCBWTV's complete coverage of Richmond City Council. Good evening once again. I'm Dick Harmon. Welcome back after our summer break. Hope you had a good summer. And we're ready for a new year, basically, even though it's not the new year. But we're back into Richmond City Council from now till next August, when we take our next yearly break. If you are planning on coming down here tonight to speak for or against the Pear Street condominium project, those papers have been withdrawn. So that is no longer an issue that is before the Richmond City Council. So if that was your aim, you don't need to be down here for that because it will not be heard. It has been withdrawn. So that's the Pear Street project, condominium project, both those papers withdrawn. So let's go through what we've got tonight. We have got, 35 items on consent, 6 items on appointments, reappointments, and 6 items on the regular agenda, and lots of changes. So let's get started right now and see what we've got and what we don't have. Starting off, item number 1, ordinance 2013-175, declaring surplus 1722 Arlington Road. That's been withdrawn. Item 2, ordinance 2013-217, concerning relation of applications for certain permits to the city's master plan, continued till October 13th. That's our next regularly scheduled meeting. Item 3, that's ordinance 2014-93, establish an advisory task force for the economic revitalization of South Richmond, continued till next meeting, October 13th. Item 4, ordinance 2014-94. Now that is the Camel Club paper that we're requesting to change the hours of operation. That's going to be amended once again and then continued until October 14th. Item 5, ordinance 2014-121. That's special use at 1650 Overbrook, and that is being continued until October 13th. Item 6, ordinance 2014-125. That's concerning disposition of revenues derived from the expiration of partial exemptions from real estate taxation. Provide that an annual basis of up to $1 million be credited to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That stays on consent. Item 7, ordinance 2013-131. That concerns the deferred retirement option program. This is being continued until the 13th of October. Item 8, ordinance 2014-149, authorizing the CAO to accept $736,305.69 from the RMA. This is for the purpose of funding capital improvements and maintenance in the parking lot at 901 East Canal. That stays on consent. Item 9, ordinance 2014-150. This executes a construction agreement between the city and CSX Transportation. And this is in order to make repairs for the portion of the Belvedere Street Bridge located over CXS Transport's radio tracks and right-of-way. That's staying on consent. Item 10, ordinance 2014-152. This concerns the MetroCare Water Assistance Program. That stays on consent. Item 11, 2014-153. This is special use at 122 West Lee for the purpose of a private museum. That stays on consent. Item 12, ordinance 2014-154. This is amending the pay plan for the purpose of awarding a one-time bonus to eligible city employees. That stays on consent. Item 13, authorizing the CAO to accept funds in the amount of $417,418. This is for the purpose of funding the Floyd Avenue Boulevard, Bike Boulevard project. Now this does not approve the plan. It merely says, okay, we do approve the funding in case the plan is approved. Item 14, that stays on consent. Item 14, ordinance 2014-157, conditionally rezoning a portion of 6508 Jank Road for a R7 single and two-family urban residential district. This one being amended and continued till the 13th of October. Item 15, special use 6400 Jank Road for a certain identification signage. In other words, a sign. That stays on consent. Item 16, special use of property at 4900 Augusta Avenue for purpose of certain identification signage. That stays on consent. Item 17, Ordinance 2014-160, special use 25 and 27 North Belmont to permit the use of property as a restaurant. This will be amended and then continued till the 13th of October. Item 18, Ordinance 2014-161, authorizing a preliminary community unit plan permitting the development of a residential community. This would not exceed 400 single-family detached and single-family attached dwelling units on about 117.88 acres of land at 6903 Midlothian Turnpike. That stays on consent. Item 19. This is Ordinance 2014-162. This adds a new section of the City Code concerning the disposition of real estate tax revenues. That paper withdrawn. Item 20. Ordinance 2014-163. All this does really is changes the name of the Building Code Board of Appeals to the Board of Building Code Appeals and makes some changes to the composition. That stays on consent. Item 21. This concerns levy of license taxes for certain cats and dogs to reflect the amendments to the Virginia Code. That stays on consent. Item 22. This is Ordinance 2014-165 concerning one additional application for partial tax exemption in real development or conservation areas or rehabilitation districts. That's staying on consent. Item 23, Ordinance 2014-166, special use 613 North Lombardy Street for permitting up to 13 dwelling units. There's a question on whether that one's going to be stay on consent or continued. We'll know more about that when we get into the meeting tonight. Item 24, Ordinance 2014-167 concerning Affordable Housing Trust Fund Oversight Board to be amended and continued till October 13th. Item 25, Ordinance 2014-168, special use 3409 Williamsburg Avenue, 4300 Williamsburg Avenue, 116 Nicholas Street for the purpose of a brewery upon certain terms and conditions. That's being amended and then continued until October 13th. And also item 26, Ordinance 2014-169, special use of 108 Nicholson Street for purpose of brewery. That's being continued until our next meeting. Item 27, Resolution 2013-R254 supports the city administration's efforts to settle certain claims asserted by certain owners of real property abutting Princeton Creek. That's being continued for 4 weeks, actually, until our next city council meeting. Item 28, this is only the submission of qualified voters of the city for proposed amendment to city charter. This is all concerning the property at the boulevard, the Diamond. That paper has been withdrawn. Item 29, Resolution 2014-R149. This imposes enhanced speeding penalties and authorizing placements of signs telling that. Chapel Drive between McGuire Drive and Hopkins Road. That's being continued till the 13th of October. And item 30, Resolution 2014-R150. Same thing, and this is for the portion of McGuire Drive between Broad Rock Road and Hopkins Road. That also being continued till the 13th of October. Item 31, Resolution R155, amending rules of procedure. This would be for the purpose of setting forth a policy concerning participation by council members using electronic communication means. Now, this doesn't mean they can all sit at home and do everything by computer. No, this means basically, if I'm reading it correctly, if there's some sort of an emergency, a member needs to be someplace other than in the council, they would still be able to take part in the meeting via electronics. That one stays on consent agenda. Item 33. Item 32, I'll be back to that one. That's Resolution 2014-R157 to request the CAO to cause the city administration to establish in Richmond an anti-litter campaign to be called Keep RVA Beautiful and conduct an inventory and assessment of existing policies and budget resources within the city to address littering concerns. That stays on consent. Item 33, and that one's Resolution 2014-R158, requesting the CAO to develop a program that establishes rental inspection districts. That one's being continued till the 13th of October. Item 34, Resolution 2014-R159, supports the Buckingham Branch Railroad Company's application for Rail Preservation Program funds. That stays on consent. Item 35, Resolution 2014-R161, approves a budget for the use of the Economic Development Authority of the program fund established pursuant to the Tobacco Road Development Cooperation Agreement. Some concern about that, some discussion about that, so that's been moved to the regular agenda. We have 6 appointments, reappointments. Item 36, appointing Norma Burnett, has been withdrawn. Item 37, providing nomination of George Braxton, Reginald Gordon, and James Johnson as the City of Richmond's 3 directors in the election of the Board of Directors of Greater Richmond Transit Company. That stays. Item 38, appoints Henry C. Coleman, member of Economic Development Authority. Item 39 is a reappointment. Franklin Hall is a member of the Board of Commissioners of the Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority. Item 40 appoints John Sarvey, member of the Sister Cities Commission. That's being continued until our next meeting on October 13th. And item 41, appointing Michael D. Wilburn to the position of Council Liaison. That stays on the consent agenda, on the appointment. Now, regular agenda. The 2 papers for the Pear Street condos, ordinance number 2014-71 and ordinance 2014-78. Those are papers 42 and 43. Those papers have been withdrawn, so there will be that project right now is off the boards. It could be brought up at a later time, but right now it is off the boards. Item 44, ordinance 2014-148. This is transferring $135,000 from the Department of Fire and Emergency, set aside as additional funding for career development for fire and emergency, and appropriates it to the police department. This is just transferring money from the fire department to the police department. That is staying on regular agenda. Item 45, this is ordinance 2014-151. This provides for the granting by the city to the person, firm, or corporation to be ascertained in the manner prescribed by law of the lease, franchise, right, and privilege to use certain property at 600 North 5th Street for parking in accordance with a certain agreement and deed of parking lease. Now that paper will stay on the agenda right now, but that's for the purpose of being open to receive bids for tonight. Whether they'll vote, I don't think so. I think they're going to be continuing the paper once they get the bids. But that right now is kind of in limbo. Item 46, ordinance 2014-156, rezoning 1308 Sherwood Avenue, 1213, 1215, 1217, 1219, 1221, and 1223 Brooklyn Parkway from single-family residence to institutional district. That will be amended and continued till the meeting on the 13th of October. And then on the last item on the agenda, item 47, resolution number 2014-R156. This is supporting efforts by the Economic Development Authority. This does not acquire the properties. It's just supporting their efforts for 103 Ambler, 1601 East Grace, 1600 East Franklin, 1604 East Franklin, 1606 East Franklin, 1610 East Franklin, 200 North 17th, 208 North 17th, 212 North 17th, 214 North 17th, 220 North 17th, 22 North 17th, 1715 East Grace, 300 Oliver Hill Way, 400 Oliver Hill Way, 510 Oliver Hill Way, 101 North 17th, 207 North 18th, 1800 Grace Street, and 1609 East Franklin Street for the purpose of developing one or more facilities for commercial enterprises in order to promote economic development in the city. Now, this doesn't say if they pass this paper that they are going to go ahead and buy the properties. It's just supporting their efforts to look into this and efforts to possibly acquire the properties. So that one is possibly going to be amended tonight. We don't know, but that one will be brought up in the regular agenda. So where do we stand right now? It's kind of confusing, but we started out with 35 items on consent agenda, 9 continued, 5 amended continued, 3 withdrawn, 1 moved. And so we are down to 17 items on consent agenda. On the appointments, we had 6, 1 withdrawn, 1 continued, down to 4. Regular agenda, we had 1 has been moved from the consent to regular, 2 withdrawn, 1 being amended and continued. So where we stand right now, we had 47 papers. We now have 25 papers that will be heard tonight. That's also subject to change. Taking a look at the citizens' comment period tonight, we'll be hearing 7 different speakers are on the lineup. One for dangerous city trees, one lack of enforcement from Child Protection Services and the Police Department, one to talk about baseball plan, one on GRTC transit station and schools, one to talk about Shockoe Bottom land use planning guidelines, one the state of the city, and one about criminal acts of the government. That's on the citizens' comment. Awards and presentations. Let's see. Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, 100th anniversary. There will be Richmond official recognition for National Night Out. We'll be having a Public Service Award for Brenda Phillips, celebrating her occasion of her retirement from public schools. Joint proclamation proclaims September as Richmond Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and those are the ones that will be presented tonight during the Richmond City Council meeting. So we've had the summer off. We're back tonight for a busy night. It was a long informal meeting, as you can tell. When we first came out there, they were still in an informal session. They will be coming back. They're in a closed session right now. They'll be coming back after that. We'll get started with tonight's first meeting of the fall. And don't forget, one meeting this month. Next month, there'll be 2 meetings, the 13th of October and the 27th. Then in November, 1 meeting, December, 1 meeting. Will that continue into the new calendar year? We'll find out later. We don't know right now. There's discussion. I guess some are saying, yes, let's do it this way. Some are saying, no, let's go back the old way. But that's has not been resolved. It probably won't be until the November meeting. So that's where we stand. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes with tonight's Richmond City Council meeting. I'm Dick Harmon. Stay tuned.
No.
I said that's right. What is right? What's right? Our communication, our little communication is correct. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Well, we were definitely just communicating. I don't know. Ms. Capel, I'm going to need you to take these. The documents, court documents, legal documents. Legal documents, just distribute them, please. Thank you. that's that's verifying my authority to the claim. It's at the bottom. It's just so we can have proper communications. I'm learning about it, so it's unfortunate I can't take everything.
Okay.
But this is just verifying. You can give that to President Samuels with the explanation that's my sovereignty over the court is granted and enumerated in U.S.A. Constitution, but it's also enumerated right there from Judge John Gilbert. Thanks. Oh, okay. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm just up here. They started the meeting at the meeting. But yeah, basically, I'm just distributing. Hopefully.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the delay. We're going to start shortly as soon as we have 5 council members up here on the dais. If council members could come forward, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Violator of the law. You're a violator of the law.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 council members up on the dais. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of Richmond City Council to order. At this time, I'd ask everyone rise for invocation. I'm sorry, I take that back. Due to a recent Supreme Court decision, I will not ask everybody to rise, but to follow their conscience on that issue, and to prepare for invocation to be given by Reverend Robert L. Easter of Fifth Baptist Church, immediately followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
You are invited to stand if you'd like. Eternal God, we gather at this hour to conduct the business of citizenship. We ask you to bless, Lord, your people who come seeking solutions or bringing solutions to the challenges we face as a city. We ask you, God, to bless the servant leaders, the citizen servants who come to deliberate. Let their deliberations, God, be guided by wisdom and compassion for those who are the least of these. Let their debate, O God, be without malice for those who have opposing positions. Let their judgments be without the biases that tend to marginalize and oppress those who are outside our circles of influence. And let all of our motivations, Lord, be to do your will, to make this city a better place to live. Inspire us that all that we do tonight will be to your glory, so that this city will be a great city. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Reverend Easter. Madam Clerk, would you please read the Chamber Emergency Evacuation Plan announcement and the Citizen Speaker's Guideline announcement?
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwells outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed to the assembly area located in the parking lot bordered by Clay 8th and 9th Streets. Citizens and employees should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Citizens wishing to speak during public hearings and/or the citizen comment period have generally 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the president of council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time and further disciplinary action as necessary, which could include barring from attendance at future meetings of the City Council for a period of 6 months.
Mr. President, for the record, all members of council are in attendance.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please read the appointments and reappointments on the agenda tonight?
Yes, appointment and reappointments for consideration this evening start with item number 37. Resolution number 2014-R151 to provide for the nomination of George Braxton, Reginald Gordon, and James Johnson as the City of Richmond directors of the Greater Richmond Transit Company for a period commencing upon election and terminating on the date of the 2015 annual meeting. And those individuals do not require to be present this evening. But when I called your name, if you are present, would you please stand? Item 38, resolution number 2014-R152 to appoint Henry C. Coleman, Jr. Henry C. Coleman, Jr. as a member of the Economic Development Authority for a term terminating April 26, 2018, succeeding Zarina M. Fazaldin. Item 39, resolution number 2014 2014-R153 to reappoint Franklin P. Hall as a member of the Board of Commissioners of the Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And item number 41, resolution number 2014-R160 to appoint Michael D. Winborn to the position of council liaison. Mr. President, those are all of the appointment and reappointment papers for consideration this evening. Item 36, which is resolution number 2014-R148, is to be withdrawn. And item 40, resolution number 2014-R154, will be continued later today until October the 13th.
Thank you very much. Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in opposition to any of these appointments? Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in support of any of these appointments? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Council is voting on tonight's appointment and reappointment papers as presented. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you, and thank you for your willingness to serve. If you will see Mr. Alexander Rawls in the bow tie and blue blazer over there, he'll take you over to the clerk's office to administer your oath of office. We really appreciate your willingness to serve. Madam Clerk, I believe we've come to a point in the agenda where we get to do awards and presentations.
That is correct. The first recognition, being presented by Council President Charles Samuels, recognizes the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond for its 100th anniversary. In 1914, Richmond, Virginia was chosen as one of 12 U.S. cities to be a location of the Federal Reserve System Bank. Incorporated May 18, 1914, the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond opened November 6, 1914 at 1009 East Main Street. It relocated to 9th and Franklin Streets in 1921 and in 1978 to its current location on East Bird Street. The Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond represents the Federal Reserve System's 5th district, which includes Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and most of West Virginia. Headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, the bank also has branches in Baltimore, Maryland, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Richmond City Council and Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby recognize, honor, and celebrate the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond on the momentous and historic occasion of its 100th anniversary.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Lacker, honored guests, thank you all for being here tonight. The 100 years of the Federal Reserve Bank in Richmond, 100 years of the federal government helping employ people in our region, 100 years of Richmond being on the map as a financial location. And throughout that time, we've enjoyed great leadership. Mr. Lacker is the most recent example of that. And I just want to thank him for his service, for his colleagues' service. And I also want to celebrate the Federal Reserve Bank, which is now 100 years old. Congratulations.
Thank you to Mayor Jones and to President Samuels and Vice President Robertson and the members of the City Council for the honor of the recognition of the 100th anniversary of the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. President Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act into law on December 23, 1913. And this was the culmination of decades of national debate about the monetary and banking arrangements of the United States. One of the most hotly debated items on the agenda was the number and location of the Federal Reserve banks. There were some who advocated a single bank, headquartered no doubt in a large financial city to the northeast that shall remain nameless. But 12 banks ultimately prevailed as the solution. And on April 2nd, 1914, Richmond was selected to host one of those reserve banks. This was the result, no doubt, of a very vigorous and well-organized civic campaign that reflected very well on the citizens of Richmond, backed by copious research. There were some who claimed a whiff of political influence over this. This was thoroughly debunked by the release of the analysis and evidence on which the organizers based their decision. In my view, Richmond was an ideal home and richly deserves to host Federal Reserve Bank. We have wonderful people in the city of Richmond and the greater region who work at the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. It's a wonderful place to live, and we have no trouble attracting people to come and work here. So again, I thank you for the honor and the recognition you've bestowed upon us, and I'd invite any of you who'd like to learn more about the Federal Reserve System and its history to visit federalreservehistory.org. Thank you.
Criminal. Violator of the law. Criminal. Criminal. Criminal.
The next recognition being presented by 7th District Council Representative Cynthia Newbille recognizes Ms. Mary W. Thompson and the Richmond East End National Night Out Steering Committee for their dedication and hard work. Held Tuesday, August 5th, 2014, between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the corner of 25th Street and Fairmount Avenue in Richmond, the Richmond East End National Night Out event was an outstanding success. Established in the U.S. in 1984 by the National Association of Town Watch, National Night Out is an annual neighborhood crime fighting event that establishes a vehicle for families to come together and focus on fighting crime in their neighborhoods through unity and education. The event works to empower citizens and strengthen neighborhoods by creating an opportunity for families to visit and talk with neighborhood and civic groups, law enforcement, businesses, and local officials. National Night Out is held each year on the first Tuesday of August and includes participation in all 50 U.S. states, U.S. territories, Canada, U.S. military and U.S. military bases around the world. Richmond City Council hereby recognize, honor, and celebrate the individuals, organizations, and businesses that form the Richmond East End National Night Out Steering Committee and thank them for helping to make Richmond an even better place.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Words are really not sufficient to express, and we call Ms. Thompson lovingly Ms. T. Our heartfelt appreciation for your not just recent work in the district and in the city, but for the last at least several decades that I can recall. But in this particular regard, we had a community conversation known as a charrette about 3 years ago in our community, and we talked about an East End transformation plan that included many parts: revitalization of the commercial corridor, housing, economic development, attracting businesses, services that would be delivered. But one of the things that we also talked about and that you emphasized was part of that revitalization was to get our community together, to have them start to work together. And prior to that period, 3 years ago, we had any number of national night out events all across the district. But for that very first time, we had a joint national night out with probably most of the civic associations in our community that really began to build community, help us to know each other, to understand what we're doing, what resources are available, how we share, how we work together, so we could, in fact, build that even better 7th District community. And so I want to thank you, Ms. Thompson, for your leadership, because that was your vision as a part of that plan. It's not just about building houses. It's not just about building people. It's also about building community and having us come together. And so I thank you for that effort. And 3 years in a row, and it's been wonderful. And so the first year, I think there were, I'm not sure how many people.
1,000.
Yes. This was the very first time. And, we have lots of civic associations across the district that have their individual celebrations. But this is a big one right at 9 Mile 25th and Fairmount. And with just incredible offering to the community. So I want to say thank you for that visionary leadership. And then I wanted to say thank you for what you really do best. Once you kind of grab on to that idea, you go out and I know these folks labored in the vineyard, but you went out and you recruited folks who are now equally as committed to that ongoing collaborative effort each year that we, under the rubric of National Night Out, also builds community. And so I want to thank you for that vision and that leadership. And then I want to thank each one of you for joining with Ms. Thompson and others who are not here to really work to build a stronger East End community, to build community. And so with that, I'll turn over to our president if you'd like.
I can't say enough. Community starts with the individual, and they work together to form something that truly matters. In my district, I have over 20 neighborhood associations. I would give my left arm if they would have one big national night out so I didn't spend all night driving around to each one individually in my car. And I think it's a great, and 1,000 people at one event for community involvement, and to say to folks, we believe in our communities. This is what matters, and have what matters be your neighbors. Ms. Thompson, thank you so much for your dedication. We'd love to have you say a few words.
Thank you. President Samuels, Vice President Robertson, and members of City Councils, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I just want to put my arm around these persons behind me because without them, I could not do it. But we have been blessed by the best. And when we started running with the first collaboratively national night out, we had no idea that the numbers would soar to 1,000. Each year since that, it has been 800 or more. And our residents look forward to having this event. I want to personally thank all of the persons who helped to support our National Night Out effort, because without them, we could not do it. And even the city had a part. And we are just grateful to our councilperson, Newbille, because all I have to do is say, I want to, and she will say, let's do it. And I thank you for being who you are and for what you do for us. Thank all of you, and we look forward to another successful 2015 National Night Out. And you better watch out, because I will volunteer anyone you may not know. You might be on my list. So thank you so very much. And then I want to say we had over 100 volunteers to come in and help us from the various organizations and the churches. Thank all of you so very much. Keep praying for us because we're on our way up.
Thank you, Ms. T. I would just like to ask each person to give their name and whichever civic association you've worked with or other organization. I just, again, what you've done to make our community an even more vibrant community in terms of us working together. We can do this together, just about anything. And so really want to recognize each of you through giving your name and your organization.
Come on now, don't let me down.
I'm Ira Washington, and I'm with New Vision. And my part with National Night Out this year was to give school supplies to 400 kids.
Good evening. I'm Jamaica Sampson, representing Bon Secours Richmond Community Hospital.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nakia Lemaire. I am with the Union Hill Civic Association, and I was in charge of the hospitality portion of the National Night Out, which was involved in procuring all of the food for the event.
I am Regina Lethbridge. I was responsible for finding the cooks and soliciting area businesses for door prizes for the event.
Good evening. My name is Victor Rogers, and I was in charge of the voter registration drive, and I'm with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, as well as the Urban League Young Professionals.
Our next recognition, being presented by President Samuels, recognizes September 2014 as Richmond Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among our country's children between infancy and age 15. It is estimated that nearly 16,000 of our nation's children under the age of 20 will be diagnosed with cancer this year. While there is no current cure for pediatric cancer, there have been significant improvements in clinical research, early detection, and treatment methods for over the past 40 years. And now survival rates for many types of childhood cancers are increasing, and more than 75% of all children with pediatric cancer survive at least 10 years after diagnosis. In recognition of National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and in order to bring further awareness to this critically important issue in support of all of our children, families, individuals, agencies, research and medical community, and organizations working to fight pediatric cancer, Richmond City Council and Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby proclaim September 2014 to be Richmond Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, encourage increased research into early detection, causes, effects, treatments, and cure, and call on everyone to reaffirm our commitment to fight this terrible threat to children.
Thank you. Every parent, aunt, uncle in the room and in the listening audience tonight knows one of two things. Either the fear of something catastrophic happening to either your child or your loved one who's a child, or to actually experience it. Usually we have someone come and accept these proclamations or awards, but tonight we thought it was appropriate to simply make the proclamation to each of you, to make sure you're aware of what can happen and ensure that each of us are doing what we can to encourage early detection, to encourage research, and to make sure that if we have even the faintest sense of concern, we make sure our children get the care that they need. And with that, I'd ask for a moment of silence. Thank you all.
Mr. President, that concludes our presentations and awards for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May we please review the agenda?
Amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, ordinance number 2013-175 has been withdrawn. Item 2, ordinance number 2013-217, and item 3, ordinance number 2014-93 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 4, ordinance number 2014-94 will be amended and continued to the October 13th council meeting later tonight. Item 5, ordinance number 2014-121 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 7, ordinance number 2014-131 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 14, ordinance number 2014-157 will be amended and continued to the October 13th council meeting later tonight. Item 17, ordinance number 2014-160 will be amended and continued to the October 13th council meeting later tonight. Item 19, ordinance number 2014-162 has been withdrawn. Item 24, ordinance number 2014-167, and item 25, ordinance number 2014-168 will also be amended and continued to the October 13th council meeting later tonight. Item 26, ordinance number 2014-169, and item 27, resolution number 2013-R254 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 28, resolution number 2014-R144 has been withdrawn. Item 29, resolution number 2014-R149, and item 30, resolution number 2014-R150 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 33, resolution number 2014-R158 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting, but will also be forwarded back to the September 16th land use meeting. Item 35, resolution number 2014-R161 has been moved to the regular agenda. Item 36, resolution number 2014-R148 has been withdrawn. Item 40, resolution number 2014-R154 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting. Item 42, ordinance number 2014-71, and item 43, ordinance number 2014-78 have both been withdrawn. Item 46, ordinance number 2014-156 will be amended and continued to the October 13th council meeting later tonight. Item 47, resolution number 2014-R156 will be amended and voted on later tonight. Mr. President, those are all of tonight's agenda amendments.
Thank you. Does any council member have any additional changes they wish to make to tonight's agenda? Madam Clerk, I know that Mr. Baliles had just recently requested that we actually continue that last paper That was a request made since the informal session. I'd ask that it be continued to October 13th.
All right, item 47, resolution number 2014-R156 will be continued to the October 13th council meeting.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the question?
I will need a motion to accept the amended agenda as presented. Councilor Graziano, will you make that motion?
So moved.
Ms. Graziano?
Yeah, aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
The amended agenda is before you.
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to do the consent agenda, please.
All right, Mr. President, the consent agenda items for tonight are as follows. Item 6, ordinance number 2014-125 to amend Chapter 42, Article 2 of the City Code by adding a new section concerning the disposition of revenues derived from the expiration of partial exemptions from real estate taxation to provide that on an annual basis up to $1 million of the difference between the full taxation amount and the partial exemption amount of real estate taxes for all properties for which partial exemptions from real estate taxation were granted shall be credited to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund after the expiration of such partial exemption beginning July 1, 2015. Item 8, ordinance number 2014-149 to accept $736,305 from the Richmond Metropolitan Authority and appropriate the amount for the purpose of funding capital improvements and maintenance on the parking facility constructed on the property known as 901 East Canal Street. Item 9, ordinance number 2014-150 to execute a construction agreement between the city and CSX Transportation Incorporated for allowing the city access to railroad property and right-of-way to make repairs to the Belvedere Street Bridge. Item 10, ordinance number 2014-152 to amend Chapter 106, Article 5 of the City Code by adding a new Division 1.1 for the purpose of establishing the Metro Care Water Assistance Program to provide discounted water and sewer fees and charges for low-income customers and to provide financial assistance to certain qualified customers for plumbing repairs and the replacement of water-inefficient appliances. Item 11, ordinance number 2014-153 to authorize the special use of 122 West Lee Street for a private museum. Item 12, ordinance number 2014-154 to amend Article 1, Section 2A of the pay plan for the purpose of awarding a one-time bonus to eligible city employees during fiscal year 2015. Item 13, ordinance number 2014-155 to accept $417,418 from VDOT and to appropriate the amount to the Department of Public Works for funding the Floyd Avenue Bike Boulevard project. Item 15, ordinance number 2014-158 to authorize the special use of 6400 Jank Road for the purpose of authorizing certain identification signage. Item 16, ordinance number 2014-159 to authorize the special use of 4900 Augusta Avenue for certain identification signage. Item 18, ordinance number 2014-161 to authorize a preliminary community unit plan permitting the development of a residential community at 6903 Midlothian Turnpike. Item 20, ordinance number 2014-163 to amend Chapter 14, Article 2 of the City Code concerning the Building Code of Appeals for the purpose of renaming this board as the Board of Building Code Appeals and making changes to its composition. Item 21, ordinance number 2014-164 to amend City Code Section 98-561 concerning the levy of license taxes for certain dogs and cats for the purpose of reflecting amendments to the Virginia Code. Item 22, ordinance number 2014-165 to amend Chapter 98, Article 3, Division 7 of the City Code by adding a new Section 98-270 for authorizing one additional application for partial tax exemption in redevelopment or conservation areas or rehabilitation districts. Item 23, ordinance number 2014-166 to authorize the special use of 613 North Lombardy Street for the purpose of permitting up to 13 dwelling units. Item 31, resolution number 2014-R155 to amend the rules of procedure for the purpose of setting forth a policy concerning participation by council members using electronic communication means in accordance with the Virginia Code. Item 32, resolution number 2014-R157 to request that the CAO establish an anti-litter campaign called Keep RVA Beautiful and conduct an assessment of existing policies and budget resources to address littering concerns. Item 34, resolution number 2014- 20-R159 to support the Buckingham Branch Railroad Company's application for Rail Preservation Program funds for its 3-year project estimated to cost $5.4 million and its 1-year project estimated to cost $2.5 million, and request that the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation give priority consideration to such application in allocating funds. Those are all of the items on tonight's consent agenda.
Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak against any item on the consent agenda?
Greetings. I'm one of the people. I'm a man. I'm speaking against every item on this consent agenda. In particular, any of the items that, and there were multiple items, that had anything to do with taxes. And I'm very thankful to the Creator for giving me the opportunity to speak on taxes minutes after the criminal president of the Richmond Federal Reserve Bank just walked into this chamber. And basically, when you pay taxes, and as Charles Samuels demonstrated when he was licking the boots of Mr. Lacker, when one pays taxes in the United States, it basically does nothing but go to the owners and officers of the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank which exists in violation of Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, which is the law of the land. Not my rules, but your rules. So I oppose any increase, expansion of any sort of taxes because nobody really benefits. Certainly the people who receive most of the tax dollars in this city, they're not living a great life. And if you receive anything from the government, it's either stolen from you already or it's stolen from somebody else. And thank you very much for the opportunity, because it is September 8th, 3 days before September 11th. It is a supermoon, and we had the person most responsible for the September 11th attacks in this chamber today, and he is a criminal and a fugitive from justice. Thank you very much.
Are there those that wish to speak in the audience tonight in favor of anything on the consent agenda?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the council. My name is Viola Baskerville. I serve currently as CEO of the Girl Scouts of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And just briefly, item number 16, we are asking for approval for signage. After 40 years, we have relocated our headquarters back into the city of Richmond. I would like to leave with you packets that tell about a brief synopsis of our 101-year history, and also invite you to participate in some of our upcoming homecoming events with Virginia Union University and Ebenezer Baptist Church, celebrating the establishment of the first African-American Girl Scout troop south of the Mason-Dixie line. Thank you for your attention and your support.
Thank you, Ms. Baskerville. Bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Council is voting on tonight's consent agenda items as presented. Mr. Baliles? Ms. Graziano? Ms. Mosby?
Yeah, could you get back to me a minute? Because I'm one right vote aye, except on one. I'm just looking it up.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Yes.
I would also like to amend my aye.
Okay.
Aye with the exception of number 6.
Oh, yeah. And aye with the exception of number 6.
All right. Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you very much. I'd like to hit the pause button here because I've heard a rumor that there is a class from U.S.A. here in the audience tonight. I think I've zeroed in on where they might be sitting. If you guys would stand up to be recognized, I'd appreciate it. It's always nice to see folks learning about local government. It's a passion of mine. As you can tell, it's exciting. And I'm thrilled that you all are here. I question what you did to be punished this way. Thank you all for being here. All right, Madam Clerk, now that we've done that, may we please go to public comment?
Yes, the citizen speakers for this evening are Marie Morton Hart.
I gave them all away already.
Marie Morton Hart.
Ms. Hart?
Good afternoon, President Samuel and Vice President Robertson. I am Marie Morton Hart. I reside in the 8th
Ms. Hart, let me get them to pause your timer for just a second. And either would you mind pulling that microphone a little bit closer, or if you need any assistance, one of the clerks will help. Thank you. It was hard to hear.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Can you hear me
reset
now?
her time, please.
Okay, I am here once again about the trees in front of my house. The CAO, Mr. Marshall, spoke at the 8th District meeting in July 2014. During that meeting, I asked about city trees that trip hazard roots in the city easement in my front yard. Mr. Marshall asked DPW Director James Jackson, who was at the meeting, to address the issue. I have been trying to get the city of Richmond to address this problem for over 2 years. Mr. Jackson had someone come out and they wanted to charge me $8,000 to replant new trees in the place of the ones that would have to be taken down. Mr. Marshall, you said on the microphone at the 8th District meeting you would make an exception to remove this dangerous tree with trip hazard roots. This week, a man came out, took pictures, and told me they were not taking down the trees. Seems as if the employees are overriding what you told me about making an exception to remove these trees. I know you are a caring, honest person. Please help with these trees with dangerous trip hazard roots. I have a daughter that have MS. I'm on a cane. My husband stumbles, and it's a hazard. I had solar lights in front of the roots. Someone stole the little top, then they came back, and they stole the little things that hold them. But I want these trees, the roots gone, and someone need to help me. I've been here, I think this is the 4th or 5th time, but these trees.
Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Marie. She did attend our meeting, and I know that Mr. Marshall had said that this was a safety hazard, which we both know it is, because when I went over there to give you some flyers, I had tennis shoes on, and I also tripped because the humps are up like this in the yard from those trees. And I know that I'm quite sure Mr. Marshall, if he was here, he would probably address your concerns, but I know that Keith is here because he did say if it was a safety issue, which we know that it is, because, you know, of your disability, your daughter, and also your friends and neighbors that come to visit you, if you're not careful, you will trip and fall over those tree, whatever you want to call them. They're like big old roots, and they're not like little roots because the trees are so old.
They even come to the end of the we don't have sidewalks over there. They even come to the end of the curb, and you have to step up to keep from falling. And my daughter with MS, she have tripped several times on those roots.
And I have too.
Miss Leela Jefferson is in the audience tonight. She's got her hand up. She's with the administration in the mayor's office. And if you would please go back. Ms. Trammell, did you say Keith Rogers was here also?
Yeah, Keith is right here.
Keith, why don't I see you anywhere?
He's right here beside me.
Oh,
I've talked to them. I've talked to them before about these routes, and they haven't done anything.
Yes, ma'am, and I'm glad that you're bringing it to our attention because I think they know the importance of making sure the administration abides by what they've told you they would do.
Well, and I wish they would.
And what you have there is a representative not only from the chief administrator's office, but also from the mayor's office. And I believe together we can find a solution to this, and I'll be checking in along with Ms. Trammell later this week with them to determine what happened. Ms. Trammell, do you have Ms. Hart, Ms. Hart's contact information?
232-61.
You don't give her number out, but if you have it, then you'll help me call later this week to find out what happened. You'll help me call later on this week to find out what happened.
Yes, I will.
Ms. Hart, would you mind speaking with them, and then we'll follow up with them also, please?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry about this situation.
Thank you.
Next speaker is James Giddings. James Giddings. Mr. Giddings. Next is John Lemon. John Lemon. Next is Carmen Terrell. Carmen Terrell. Next is Lawrence Williams.
Hi, Mr. Williams.
You make sure.
Members of City Council, thank you. I'm Lawrence Williams, a resident of the 6th District. I would like to express and like to discuss two related items. First, how we perceive the development of the boulevard, and mostly we'll discuss the land use policies for Shockoe Bottom. I've had the opportunity to attend the Times-Dispatch forums, the city planning events on the stadium and the farmers market. I also was a member of the steering committee for the downtown master plan and active in community planning in the 6th District. I have some graphics here for you on some of the prospects of the area. I believe in trustworthiness, collaboration, and most importantly, job creation for all. First and foremost, my concern tonight is that we recognize that the counties really haven't helped us to resolve the stadium location. During and after the recent recession, the counties were non-committal in helping us. They had no money. However, they showed unity. Henrico moved forward on White Oak, on Short Pump, on Willow Lawn, and now they also are doing a new development on Staples Mill at Blue Cross, just beyond Blue Cross Blue Shield. The Diamond site would be in direct competition with Henrico. Maybe that's why it was no help. Chesterfield has also moved forward with redevelopment on Cloverleaf Mall, and bulldozers are now rolling. What we tend to forget is that with sports backers taking up some green space over there, and with a new baseball field crammed against a no man's land of train tracks and parking structures, there really is no room to build a new town center. And who wins? Henrico. We lose $6 to $12 million per year, while more tax revenue for schools come online for Henrico. Secondly, and to that end, I would encourage council to support a proposed collaborative Plan C for Shockoe Bottom with fixed structures and guidelines, and then put it out to competitive bid. The proposed Plan C represents a composite of community, media, professional input from local professional architects and engineers, and we encourage more participation in resolving the final plan. Plan C proposes a historic district running west to east on Broad, opposite the hotel, and it is of equal acreage to the other heritage proposals. 2 additional museum sites are proposed in that area. The stadium is a minimum hidden footprint. In conclusion, I'd like to emphasize that the state has new funding programs that exist, and developers can provide initial gap funding that could finance 80% of the cost, and 20% of the long-term debt payments would be actually taken from the state income tax from that particular zone. No liability for the city. And in conclusion, I'd like for you to please adopt the land use planning ordinances and design guidelines and create an independent stadium financing for Shockoe Bottom. A Commonwealth Tourism Zone development zone is requested here, and that's a new program that's offered by the state.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you.
The next speaker is L. Shirley Harvey.
Good evening. My name is L. Shirley Harvey, and I want to say to those youngsters out there who are going to college, just don't believe everything you hear. Check it out. Tonight I'm here because I want to speak about the Shemitah. First, I want to say that according to your rules, I was not supposed to speak tonight, but God had a different idea. Did you know that God can even change your rules? The Shemitah is a Jewish period which pertains to release or falling and occurs every 7 years. 1987 was a year, so you can count up from there. This year it begins on 9/25/2014 and ends on 9/13/2015. During this period, God makes changes. He makes changes where some things go up and some people go down and vice versa. What has happened during this period in previous years has been 9/11, the 2008 stock crash, the 2001 stock crash, the bond market massacre. In 1987, we had Black Friday. There are a lot of other things that happened during this period, too, that should make you know that something different happens during this period. And it's because God does not like, or he does like, what we are doing. Most of the time it's that he doesn't like it. Let me just say that as a Negro, I am happy to be so. I would not be this cute any other color, would not see the world from a better perspective than one as a Negro. Since the first African slave put his foot on this land, there have been no real change, absolutely, really no change. And since I'm this cute, I can say I'm 68 years old, and I haven't seen any change really since I was born. From 1865 through today, we are still treated basically the same as we were before. You take our land and put colleges and convention centers on it. You take our money and give us no representation. You take our schools and put charter schools on the same place. You allow our children to attend dilapidated schools. You take our money and allow your paid employees to ride the bus for free. You provide us with no training so that people outside the city can come in and take our jobs. You make us go behind City Hall to catch the bus so we are not seen. You bring people into our city to push us out. You refuse to listen to our suggestions and plans to help ourselves with our own money. This is the Shemitah year, and
Ms. Harvey, your 3 minutes are up. Would you like to summarize?
Yeah, and God says change will come soon. God decided, and I would be a Negro, a female, a Richmond resident, and a warrior.
Ma'am, would you like to summarize? Your time is up.
And that I would speak tonight. So I spoke tonight. You never give me 3 minutes. Somebody should check it.
It's 3 minutes and 28 seconds. All right.
The next speaker is Chris Dorsey.
Mr. Dorsey.
Yeah, just to reestablish, I'm not a citizen. You can call me Mr. Dorsey, but as for lawful and legal terms, I'm a man and I'm one of the people. And I'll start off by citing Virginia Constitution, that all power is vested and consequently derived from the people. The magistrates are their servants, are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. I'm going to, this is now a court of record. I would believe that every member of council has received this claim. This is in regard to a number of crimes that were carried out against me, caught on camera and witnessed by, 3 or 4 dozen people at least, I would say. And I'm gonna show evidence. Everyone, hopefully, viewing at home can see these pictures, and they're marked Exhibit A, B, C, and D, and I'll go through them real quick, and this will prove my claim, which is that there was trespass, which is most specifically abduction, carried out against me, and that I require compensation, fair and just compensation. And it began with a false witness. People at home can see that this is Steve Skinner.
Hold on there, Mr. Dorsey. Hit mute.
And
hold on, we're not going to talk about people who aren't acting in their official capacity.
This is Steve Skinner acting as individuals who work for me. Thank you for turning my microphone back on, and thank you for following my orders. You're all complicit in these crimes, and basically, thus far, the Richmond Commonwealth's attorney, the Richmond Police, including Magistrate Davidson and Michael Herring, and the Ray Tarasovic, Charles Samuels, you have got plenty of FOIA requests from me, and you haven't complied with any of them. All in violation of the law. They've been given lawful orders to carry out the law. Basically, this was an open and shut case of violations of the U.S.A. Constitution, and it's caught on camera, and it's irrefutable. And thank you for the opportunity to speak 3 days before September 11th, because this is exactly what happened. False flag, false accusations, and crimes carried out against the people. The pictures don't lie. It's all here.
3 minutes are up. Thank you for speaking.
Okay. You're ridiculous. You've been given an order, and you violated the law, and it's in front of everyone to see.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I believe up next would be the regular agenda.
Okay. Start with item 35, which is resolution number 2014-R161. That's to approve a budget of the program fund established pursuant to Tobacco Road Development Cooperation Agreement. That paper is before you.
Are those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in opposition to this paper? Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in support of this paper? Bringing it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Council's voting on item number 35, resolution number 2014-R161. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert? Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted. Next is item number 44, which is ordinance number 2014-148, to amend the general fund budget for FY 2015 to transfer $135,000 from the Department of Fire and Emergency Services and to appropriate the amount to the Department of Police for additional funding for career development for police employees for equalizing the duration of pay for each department participating in the career development program. That paper is before you.
Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in opposition to this paper? If there are, if you guys would file or form a line, or at least raise your hand so we can count how many. Is it just going to be the 3? 2? All right.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Rogers. I represent the Richmond Coalition of Police. And on its face, it would seem odd that I would be against this, but I think based on the information that I've received about how this is going to be paid out as a one-time bonus, I would be against that tonight. I think that what should happen is that this should be tabled to another time until we can address what I think the real issue is. And I believe at the last meeting in July, Mr. Marshall spoke about making this a one-time bonus equivalent to 10.5 pay periods for both police and fire. It should not be a one-time bonus at all. I don't believe that is what you intended when you passed this. I don't believe that's what it is now. I believe what should happen is that, as I spoke to Mr. Parker Agelasto at some point prior to the amendment to freeze career development from July 1 through June 30th should be amended. And by my quick calculations, it's probably sometime around February 5th. Once that happened, we could actually have career development kick in and actually count towards police officers' pay in the future. I would tell you that when I started the academy, we all carried a little rock around. It was painted a green color. We had to name our rock. We named it CHIP, for courage, honor, integrity, and professionalism. There's no doubt that you guys are professional, but I will tell you what's called into question right now is the courage, honor, and integrity to back what you guys passed initially to start with. What you guys passed initially to start with was career development. It was not a career development bonus. The bonus does us no good. Ms. Mosby, you asked the last time here, does this carry us through to next year? It does not carry us through to next year. This is actually going to harm us. Hold the money in escrow. Next year, add to it, but fund career development till it counts towards your pay. It's not the classes that I've taken, the classes that everybody else has taken, they continue, the city continues to gain benefit from it, and a one-time bonus that doesn't count towards our future compensation and retirement does us zero good. And in fact, will cause more harm than good. I firmly believe that City Council here, and I've met with most of you individually numerous times, I've met with most of you about this in particular over this past year. I don't believe any of you intended for this to be the case. And I believe that Council's intention is good. I'm not sure about everyone's intention in the administration about this. But again, based on the way that it's written and the way I understand from Byron Marshall that this would be paid out as a one-time bonus, I would say this does not need to be passed tonight. And some future meetings with myself and Mr. Andes, the fire department, the police department, to address and among yourselves about how to make career development count long-term is really what should happen. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. In the few seconds we have left, are you speaking exclusively for yourself, or are you representing?
No, I represent the Richmond Coalition of Police.
And that's the
local police union
position?
It is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Councilman President Samuels, Vice President Robertson, and City Council members, I'm Keith Andes, President of Richmond Firefighters Association. As always, I am honored to come before you on behalf of my membership. Tonight, we are here to thank you for understanding the importance of the Career Development Program and for funding the program in 2015 budget, which I honestly think that's what you were voting on. It is the funding of the CDP that has led to some questions by my membership that frankly are valid points and questions that I cannot answer. When concerns come to me, I always try to get the most factual information I can provide to alleviate their concerns. Hopefully tonight you can assist me in understanding the intentions of this body of government when you voted for CDP funding. When meeting to discuss the possibility of unfreezing career development, the main question is, in most cases, was what it was going to cost to re-implement. The history of this program has always had an officer assigned to track each individual in making sure they qualify for the level they were requesting permission to move into. This takes great effort and time to make sure we have our facts straight and providing you the most accurate information possible. In our meetings with each of you, we provided the most up-to-date financial figures as possible. We estimated the cost of getting CDP back up and running and placing our personnel who qualify into their appropriate levels at an estimated cost of $240,000. I can almost guarantee you that's what the cost would be. To Chief Creasy's behalf, he has always believed in this program. He has always had somebody in charge of this program to make sure that the taxpayers' money was spent wisely. This program is so important to the Richmond Fire Department and the Richmond Police Department. I wish we can convey in words, and I can tell you with the emotion to show you the importance of this program. You, the members of council, voted in your council amendments to the 2015 budget $261,600, an approved increase to the fire department budget, more than enough to re-implement the program for 2015. To my knowledge and understanding, the Career Development Program has been funded in its entirety for 2015 fiscal year, starting July the 1st, 2014. I'm pretty sure that's what the vote was. Now starts the complicated portion of why we're here. As of July the 7th, an ordinance introduced by Mayor Jones has been introduced to take $135,000 out of the RFD budget and put it into the Richmond Police Department budget to try to equalize the duration of pay for each department. This ordinance is still awaiting your approval. In the meantime, our CDP should have already been seen in our members' paychecks, who have worked so hard and paid hard-earned money of their own to continue to educate themselves in their chosen profession. This has not happened with the funding at $261,600 we had by CAO Mr. Marshall and Jay Brown's interim director of budget and strategic planning, numbers to fund 22.2-week paydays of CDP. With 26 pay periods in a year, we have already entered into our 6th pay period with no one seeing an increase in their checks. I ask for your body of counsel tonight to make sure that you understand the Career Development Program and what you voted for as of July the 1st. Thank you for what you do each and every day, and God bless all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andes. Are there those in the audience tonight? Oh, is there another one to speak in opposition?
I don't know whether I'm speaking in opposition or for it. But I do want to say this, because I said this as I spoke before, that if we had a career development program for the children, the youngsters who are in high school and in college that live in the city of Richmond, because most of our police and fire department don't live in the city of Richmond, we would not see some of the things that we see in Ferguson, Missouri happening right now. We leave our children with nothing to do when they get out of school, if they get out. We give them no reason.
Are you speaking about increasing pay for police officers and firefighters?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand a thing you said.
Are you speaking in support or opposition to pay increases for police and firefighters?
I'm talking about pay increases and career development, which is what this paper is about.
Okay, please continue.
Okay. So you always like to stop me. I know, tries to throw me off. Anyway, what I'm saying to you is that if we had the same kind of force behind the children that are here in the city of Richmond, the youngsters that live here, then we would be able to make those people have these jobs, and maybe they wouldn't be killing so many of each other.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Scott Campbell. I'm a city employee presently on military leave since July of 2012, and I've come before you tonight. Wasn't planning on speaking until a few minutes ago, but feel I need to highlight something and as far as the lack of reason to come back. As the gentleman that spoke before me explained, the Career Development Program basically provides that reason to come back. And looking at my options on returning from active duty, I can take a position with Henrico County and a $1,400 pay cut that's made up by the end of the year without being credited for any of my service in the 9 years that I've been with Richmond. But there's no correlation for Richmond to even come close to bringing that into the financial play. That career development program is what gives everybody the opportunity to stay, and why you're going to wind up losing a lot of your seniority as you go forward if that continues. That's all I got, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for our service to our country. Are those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in support of this paper? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for any discussion.
Council President.
Mr. Agelasto.
Thank you. I think we have talked about this in many other meetings, and what it boils down to at this stage is what is council's preference. We have money. We can choose to reinstate the career development. Our discussions around the budget for the last 2 budget cycles have been, how do we work with our fire and police and make their compensation competitive? Yes, I understand that when we had our budget discussions that there were some negotiations about the potential surplus that was going to be had at the end of fiscal year 14. At the time, there was a reluctance for us to get a certified number. We got a certified number. There were some discussions, negotiations between Council President, Ms. Graziano, and the administration. I understand that. But what I also understand is that on an August 18th memo, we were told that we have more than $4.5 million above and beyond the surplus that was at that time during our budget deliberation certified. So we have $4.5 million of a surplus. If we choose to fund career and development, we have the money there. It's a matter of how we allocate it. And at this point, I'm looking at the agreement that we had with the administration, and under there it said, administration and council do not agree on the career development portion. If we want to reinstate career development, we've got to take that position. This is critical to the workforce and the development of our workforce. And I'm looking at this memo again, and it says the administration will do a compression study so that they can then recommend to the city council what a plan would be to start raising salaries and salaries of current employees, and that would be done within 60 to 90 days. At this point, we're well beyond 90 days, and we have a much larger budget surplus. There's nothing holding us back from taking the necessary action to fund career development, period. And I would ask that we seriously consider what the fire and police officers have said to us repeatedly and take consideration for what we have been doing to their annual income. These individuals risk life and limb to serve every citizen and every visitor to this city. We're going to be having a bike race coming here, 400,000 visitors. We need to make sure that we're retaining our officers. So I ask that you all seriously consider not making this a bonus, but that you make it the full career development.
Ms. Trammell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Parker. You said a whole lot and spoke from your heart, and I really appreciate that. You know, as I've said over and over and over, we ask so much of our police officers and our firefighters. We ask them to do more with less. And to me, we need to ask ourselves, where would we be if we didn't have these police officers and these firefighters? I mean, they do a lot. They come into neighborhoods where some of us sitting right in this audience probably would not even come into those neighborhoods to help those children and help those single moms. So I think that I agree with you, Parker. The mayor was just in a paper recently saying that we have made so much money, we've got so much money, some extra money, so why not give it to those police officers and those firefighters who deserve it? And I think we should do that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trammell. Are there other comments?
Mr. President.
Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you. This was my understanding of what we were going to do with the budget. And, you know, I guess my original thoughts on this were that something would you know, that to head us in the right direction would be a positive thing. But having heard from the stakeholders in this, it's hard to support this measure when they're telling you it would do more harm than good to them. I think that, you know, we really need to do the best by all our employees, but particularly those who put themselves in harm's way every day. I appreciate the work that they do. Not everybody always gets it right, but we all sleep safer and soundly knowing that they are out there on the front line. So based on those comments, that it would do more harm than good, I'm going to vote against this measure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Other comments? Ms. Graziano?
I have just one question on this, and it says that we are, with this paper, part of this paper says we're transferring money from the Department of Fire and Emergency Services to the Department of Police to equalize the two. And so my question is, if we vote this paper down, do we also vote down that equalization in terms of the money so that the fire department would really be getting more than police.
Is there a representative from the administration here that can answer that question? Ms. Graziano, it doesn't appear the administration is available here to be able to answer your question. I'm sorry.
But then, Mr. President, to me, I cannot vote on this paper until I have an answer to that question.
I understand. Are there other comments? Dr. Newbille.
During informal session, I think Mr. Marshall conveyed that there was in progress a comprehensive compensation and career step study or plan. Well, so my question is such a thing in progress? How quickly will it be forthcoming or available?
Is there a representative of the administration here tonight that can answer that question? Chief Creasy, I'm sorry to put you in this position. I know that this was not a discussion that you had been a part of when we were making these negotiations.
That is true. I believe I can answer the question. They've gone to check and see if Mr. Marshall is available, but my understanding of this paper, all it does is move money from fire to police that will allow both police officers and firefighters eligible for career development advancement to receive a one-time bonus at the same time, essentially equitably, to maintain parity between police and fire. That's the only thing it does, is move money from here to there to equalize. Otherwise, firefighters would have gotten a bonus the equivalent of, let's say, 22 pay periods, while police was only 6. So this evened it out at 10.8 pay periods. And that's the only thing this instrument does. And I may stand to be corrected, but that's my understanding of the paper.
You don't have any ability to, or do you have any knowledge that would allow you to accurately answer Dr. Newbille's questions? Would you like her to repeat them?
That would be helpful.
Yes, I am understanding that there is in progress a comprehensive compensation as well as career step study and/or plan being developed that would apply to especially, I think at that time we were talking fire, but hopefully fire and police. I think it was fire, though. It may be fire and police. I don't have. So the question is such a comprehensive study in progress that allows us to benchmark against other localities in terms of compensation, career step, et cetera, et cetera? And when would it be available?
I can't answer that question.
Mr. Marshall, thank you for joining us. Would you like Dr. Newbille to repeat her question a third time?
No, I think I heard it. With respect to where we are on a comprehensive review of compensation for police and fire, the starting salaries have been reviewed. That analysis was done June, July. That's been completed. We've not begun, as far as I know, a review of career development or the STEP program. We have begun having conversations about special duty pay, most notably a chauffeur or pumper driver as a special duty. But all of those things will be completed in time, I would say at least a month or two prior to the budget being submitted, so that we can go through the committee process and explain them in a comprehensive manner. You're welcome.
Other comments?
Mr. President, before Mr. Marshall walks away.
Hold on. Let me make sure everybody's gotten a fair chance before we start going around a second time.
Mr. President.
Vice President Robertson.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, based on the paper that is before us, to make sure that the benefits are equal for fire and police, that carries us through this FY year through June 30th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if we were to reject this paper with the request that this become a not a bonus, but a salary increase. Would that require that there be an amendment to the budget, the current budget that we are operating in, and if so, how much? And would it be, and to make sure that we are providing both for fire and police, would it require a budget amendment, and how much?
It
to
would
get us through this year.
If the intent is to make it a step increase, make it in the base, a level increase, it would cost about $800,000. So I think there's $566,000 currently in the budget. The annual cost is $1.4 million, so it's about $800,000, $700,000. And that would require a budget amendment because we'd have to find that money and take it from some other program. And then it would also roll into next year, and that's not currently in our forecast for next year.
Can I do a follow-up question, Mr. President? Roll into next year as of July 1st, 2015.
Correct.
Currently, do we have money in the budget for July 1st, 2015 at the same level of bonus that we have for this year?
Well, remember, we do a biennial budget, and 14 and 15 were done together. So we don't have a 16-17 budget yet. When we did our forecast of the next 5 years, we assumed it would stay at the same level.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, I understand and I hear what both fire and police are saying. And, I think every year that we go through the budget process, we go through this concern as to whether or not we are a competitive employer and whether or not the salaries and the benefits are one that makes it possible for the city of Richmond to hire the best and to retain the best. We are particularly faced with this challenge, especially as it relates to police, fire, and teachers. And I think that it is way past due that, we look at what those costs are and that we position ourselves to be a competitive employer. Inasmuch that we will be adopting a 2-year fiscal budget this year, and that the added information that will be coming, we do not have, this is a 1-year budget cycle that we're in. We'll have an opportunity to really assess whether or not we want to put this program back in, not have it on a staggered, year by year, looking at base salaries and those kind of things. I think that there will not be a reduction in the availability of funds for career development this year, in this next 12 months. And I would hope that based on the information that we get as a result of the comparative studies and the recommendations for addressing base salaries and so forth, will position us to make a much more informed decision. So I am hopeful that we can move forward with guaranteeing what we have in place to create the equal pay opportunities for both fire and police this year, and put forth a special effort early in January to make sure that we have the information we need to be better prepared for next year's budget cycle. Thank you.
Any other first-time commenters before we come back? No? Okay. Mr. Agelasto.
Mr. Marshall, you made a comment about if we wanted to reinstate this in the current fiscal year that we might have to find money, about $800,000 from another department. The budget surplus that was reported at $13.7 million from last fiscal year, 9.1 of that was used to balance this current fiscal year. So there's a residual of $4.5 million that is unassigned. Can you tell us what the administration plans to do? Can we not get $800,000 out of the $4.5 million of the unassigned budget surplus from last fiscal year?
Well, first, we have to get through the audit period. So that will be sometime after the end of November, and we should know then how much of that is real. So we estimated about $13 million. We know 9.1 of it has to go to fill a hole in the current budget. If by the time they finish, they being the external auditors, finish making their adjustments, if there's $4 or $5 million left, the first thing we have to do is look to how much we have to have at the end of this fiscal year to meet our requirements for 10% of the budget being set aside. That's one of the things we have to do for our rainy day fund. Then whatever's left, we can look at what those options are at that point. I don't think I've left anything out. Norman? Okay. So first thing is we have to make sure it's real. So we're estimating it, but as the report said, the report was heavily caveated because we have to get through the audit period. Then once the audit is completed, one of the things that we're required to do at the end of the fiscal year is set aside sufficient dollars to make sure we have a 10% rainy day fund. And then after that, we've already replaced the other reserves, so those dollars could be available. However, they are one-time dollars. So it's not really advisable to take one-time dollars and use them for ongoing expenses.
And we'll be having a discussion shortly about the real estate property tax rate. And being that this proposal before us, and real estate property tax rates, by the way, are recurring. I mean, that's not a one-time, that's an ongoing. And we're projected to have more revenue than we had budgeted for. And given the fact that this paper is simply a one-time bonus pay, and it could be put into any pay period that we choose. And obviously, we would want that money to be compensated sooner than later so that the employees had the money. But perhaps if the council wishes to fully consider an alternative of reinstating the career development for the current fiscal year, we should delay consideration of this until we get to what the auditors have balanced our books and we know what our real estate property tax rate will be effective January 1st. Would you say that's good fiscal policy?
You've mixed policy and politics there. So what I can say to you is it would be good for us to know how much money we have available to us before spending money. So using the logic that you put out, if we wait until after the audit is done, then we'll know how much money we could have available. But again, that's one-time money. If you make an adjustment to the tax rate tonight that's beyond the $1.19 that the mayor proposed, then you could have additional dollars, but those dollars will be available in later in the fiscal year. So taxes will be collected in January and June. So theoretically, we'd have money in the current fiscal year, yes.
Right. Thank you. I'd like to suggest that we continue this because I would fully support a consideration of career development, and at the moment we don't have that paper before us to consider the adjustment to the pay plan.
Dr. Newbille.
Just a question, not to respond to Mr. Agelasto yet. The audit will be completed by when, Mr. Marshall?
It's due November 30th.
Mr. Marshall, if you wouldn't mind, for the record, standing up to the mic. Please.
I'm trying to confirm information I'm giving you, and the person who knows the information is in the back of the room. So it's due by the end. Theoretically, we should be finished by October 31st. But I think it's due to you by the third week in November.
Okay. And then the bonuses, when were they going to be administered per this? Not until 15?
September 26th.
September of this year? Mm-hmm. Okay.
All of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Trammell.
Mr. President, was it, did one of the speakers say that they have not seen some of the money in their paychecks that was supposed to be there? Was that, I think I heard.
I don't know if I heard that. I know we haven't voted on this paper, so I'd be surprised if they did see the money yet. Because we have to vote on the paper before it can be paid out.
That's what Fred was just saying to me. We have to bring another paper back to change the pay plan. So it would probably be November. Because you have 2 readings and it would be introduced in October, theoretically, hopefully approved in October, and then paid sometime in November.
Okay, so the pay would not happen until November. So then there would be enough time to receive that information in terms of confirmation of dollars.
Well, the audit information may not be available. The audit won't be finished until the end of October and available to you
in November.
Early November. So if you delay passing the paper until after that, then the payment would be made sometime probably in January.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Seeing none, we have a couple of options, folks, and this will probably spur on more conversation, but we can vote against this paper, and if we do, we don't stop payment of the bonus. We simply stop the police from getting as much as fire. We can vote to continue it, in which case, without the other reports coming through until October or November, we could technically vote on this at a later date, in which case we could ask more questions. In that time period, quite frankly, we could try to amend this paper, and I'm not going to put Mr. Jackson on the spot. I have a sneaking suspicion he would tell me that we cannot amend it in a way that's not as the mayor recommended the paper read due to our illustrious and wonderful charter. So we're only allowed to vote on recommendations of budget amendments during the budget year that the mayor recommends. So if he does not recommend it, I'm not confident that we have the power to actually change the budget in a way we want whenever he introduces a budget amendment. Yeah, I see a nodding head over there. So we could still make amendments to it, or we could vote it up. It doesn't mean anybody's going to see any money tonight, and it's certainly not what fire and police have asked us for. Certainly wasn't those of us who introduced the series of papers that we started this plan of trying to reinstate career development in the STEP program. I know the paper that I introduced during the budget season only paid for half a year, but made it in terms of actual career development raises, not bonuses. Some of you all actually put in enough money to do a full year. And over the course of our budget negotiations, both amongst ourselves and with the administration, we couldn't find the right number of votes to get it across the finish line. So if police and fire would rather a raise than a bonus to the point where they don't want the bonus, then even if we vote for this paper, we can ask the administration to hold off, since nothing's going to be paid until November anyway, to try to find a solution. This paper just levels the paying field between police and fire. That's my one joke at a pun during this very serious conversation. Any other comments? Matt?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we table this matter.
Second.
Mr. Hilbert, did you mean continue or table?
I meant continue, since we're looking for precise language, and I appreciate the President's preciseness on that issue.
It's okay. It just means I was going to have to pull open my Robert's rules to remember what to do.
Would we, I'm sorry, continue it mean just until the next meeting, or should
we can continue? We can continue it till the October 13th meeting or some other meeting if you make that motion. I wouldn't push this thing out I would not push this paper out very far, though, because if we only have a month to come to terms with what we want, it might force us to speed a little bit. Coal doesn't become a diamond without pressure.
Right. It doesn't. So thank you. I would like to see us do it in a month and add some urgency to the situation. Thank you.
All right. There is a motion to continue this paper to October 13th. Is there a second?
Could I have discussion?
We can only have discussion once there's a second.
Okay.
President Sims, I believe we have a second from Councilman Agelasto.
That is correct. Thank you, sir. I didn't see your hand. Now, discussion.
Okay.
Dr. Newbille.
So we continue it. We still don't have more information until we have audit complete with information back to help us make an informed decision about whether or not we can actually move this from a bonus. I guess I'm a little concerned about, in what's different in a month that allows us to be more responsive, which is what we're trying to do relative to compensation as well as career and step. And I don't know what I have in a month that is different than I have now until I get the information back and we can make an informed decision here and figure out how to really get this addressed the way that I think we all do want to, because we want to have our public safety staff, fire and police compensated equitably. We want to retain them. We want career. I think that's accurate for all of us. And this, I don't see how this gets me there. So maybe there can...
Thank you, Dr. Newbille. Mr. Hilbert, do you want to make comment, or does any other council member have comment? Mr. Baliles?
So I'm not disagreeing with the need to continue. What new information can I then parlay into a modified compensation plan, career and step plan that then holds us for the long term?
Mr. Baliles?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, this is a real conundrum that if you approve the paper, the paying field, to use your pun, Mr. President, is leveled. At the same time, for the last two budget sessions that I've been on council, we've made it quite clear that STEP and career development programs need to be reinstated. And both times, either the money was miraculously found or some nuance, like a one-time bonus, was suggested as the course of action, when I think the real course of action should be reinstitute the program. It's been on hold for 5 years, and I think continuing this for a month so we can talk to the administration and amongst ourselves probably isn't the end of the world, but it also is an opportunity for us as a body to make it absolutely clear that when the next budget comes out, career and step is going in there one way or the other. Because we've all agreed, I don't know whether it's all 9 or it's at least 6 of us, I think it is all 9 of us, we do believe that it's important to retain police. I was at the police graduation ceremony, and Ms. Trammell, you know the number of what it costs to train a police officer, and there were 40 some officers, men and women, that went through the academy and have graduated, and we'll probably lose some of those within the next couple of years. We need to make it clear that this is absolutely essential. I mean, people forget 20 years ago, this city was the murder capital of the world. Police have made significant changes. They've really stepped up community policing. They're seen in the neighborhood, and other changes. And as a result, crime is down. It's way down. If we don't retain the best and brightest, and that's true with, Midwest Vaco or, the Seattle Seahawks. If you don't keep the good people around, the city's going to suffer. The police department will suffer. And so I don't have a problem with continuing this for another month, but I think we ought to re-examine between when that audit comes out and when the budget comes out, making sure that career and step are back on the table without the nuances.
Thank you, Mr. Baliles. Ms. Graziano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also don't mind continuing this paper for a month, but I go to what Ms. Newbille said. What this paper does is it equalizes the amounts of money for each department. The issue that we're all talking about is it a bonus or is it career development? This paper deals with the equalization. I think that if we can continue it for a month, then we can have the same discussion, but I'm not clear where holding up this paper reinforces our ability to put the career development program in place. I think Mr. Baliles said it well, that maybe when we have the audit done, if we have extra money, hopefully we can work with administration to make this positively be career development going on forward, or at least make sure that it's going to be in the next budget. But I just am not sure how holding this paper up helps that discussion. But if everyone thinks it's a great idea to continue it, I'm fine with continuing it. I'm just not sure in a month what difference there's going to be.
Any other comments before we vote on Mr. Hilbert's motion to continue?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
If I could amend this here. The thing is, maybe from a procedural standpoint, I want to withdraw the 30-day continuance and make another motion that we do it for 60 days. I believe we're going to have the information in 60 days. Excuse me?
I said we should have.
Oh. Right. So that way we do have the information. And the analogy is, to me, that folks are asking for, I don't know, something and they're not getting it. And until you stop and say, no, that's not good enough, this is what we asked for, this is what we want, this is what we've earned, then you're going to see a difference. So if I may make that motion at the same time, Mr. President, to withdraw my previous motion to continue for 30 days and ask that we continue this paper for 60 days when we will all be fully informed.
All right. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Hilbert wishes to amend his motion to continue. Does that require, I don't see where it requires a second.
It requires the consent of the second to the original motion.
I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that. Thank you, Mr. Agelasto. Ms. Trammell, now it's been seconded. We have discussion.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If we're going to continue the paper for 60 days, are we going to make sure that we come back with a definite answer that we are going to give them back their career development instead of tonight giving them false hope that we're going to do this? And how many officers will we be losing in the next 60 to 90 days?
Those are questions that you know I can't answer. I don't know if anyone in the audience tonight can answer how many officers will retire, get injured, or resign in the next 60 days. I just don't know who could possibly foresee that. I mean, if you only have to give 2 weeks' notice, there's no way any of us could.
I just know that Chesterfield right now is recruiting officers, or would you like to come and join our group, our Chesterfield County police officers, with more pay, take-home car, and other great benefits.
So do you think it would be more important to vote on this or not vote on this?
What I'm trying to say, I don't want us to sit here say that we're going to make sure that they get it. Then we come back in 60 days and say, oh, we can't do this now. I mean, it's just...
Well, I think we definitely aren't saying we're going to reinstate career development in 30 days or 60 days. We don't have the authority to do it at all. Only the administration has the authority to do it during a budget year.
But, Mr. President, it's pretty bad when you have a mayor of the city of Richmond and I'm glad that we got this extra money. I'm glad we have it. I mean, this is giving false hope to our police officers, our firefighters, our schools, our teachers. When you sit there and say one day you say we don't have any money or we don't know where we're going to find it, then it's in the Times-Dispatch, oh, this is great news. Mr. Mayor says we've had a great year. We have some extra money. And then they're down here begging for us to do this, do the right thing by them. As John Baliles said, we have promised them, and I know being the chairperson of public safety, I've heard them loud and clear, well, we've made that promise. Now it's like, what do we do? And I think I even heard them say, keep your bonus, but give us the career development. That's what we want.
Do you want to continue the paper or vote on it?
Do you think we should for 60 days?
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other comments?
All right, yes, I'll say yes then.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
I hate to belabor this discussion, but I also would appreciate the city attorney offering us some advice. If you go to the actual budget book, in the budget book, it describes the funding for the police STEP program as a one-time bonus. In the budget book, nowhere does it reference the funding for career development as a one-time bonus. This ordinance does not reference a one-time bonus. The only thing that makes this a one-time bonus is the fact that we adopted, perhaps some of us not realizing that it was part of the 60 budget papers, the ordinance to suspend career development. So my question to the city attorney is, in this likely continuation, can you advise us if, because there's no reference to a one-time bonus, whether we take action on amending the pay plan to bring back the career development, whether that would in fact go into place?
Providing employees with additional pay is a two-step process. One is to appropriate the funds to do it. The second is to amend the pay plan to dictate how that gets done. That's why you, during the budget process, you appropriated funds for a 2% bonus for all employees. Tonight, you've already voted on amending the pay plan to actually pay that money. So to reinstate career development, you would have to do two things. Number one, appropriate money. Number two, amend the pay plan. How you amend the pay plan for this fiscal year will be determined by how much money is appropriated. And right now, there is, as I understand it, money appropriated in the police department budget for 6 weeks, 6 pay periods rather, and in the fire department budget for a larger number of pay periods. What they're trying to do is combine the two sets of funds in the two departmental budgets to come up with a different number of pay periods that would be paid to both police and fire. So the most that you could do in this fiscal year with this budget amendment is to amend the pay plan to begin paying career development at a point where this amount of money would be sufficient to pay through the end of the year. And then during the annual budget process, you would deal with the following years.
And what I'm asking is, can you confirm for us somewhere where it says that this money is supposed to be used for a one-time bonus? Because it's not referenced that way in the budget book, and I'm not confident that it's that way in the pay plan, and that we should be seeing a pay plan amendment some point in the future. It was not introduced coinciding with this paper to transfer the funds, so we're being asked to take one set of action, not knowing what the next set of required action will be.
You're correct. You only have half a loaf here.
We have half a loaf that's been presented, okay? I think we need to continue and see what the city administration is presenting to us.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk? This is a motion to continue till the first meeting in November, Mr. Hilbert?
Yes, Mr. President.
Properly seconded by Mr. Agelasto.
Council is voting on Councilman Hilbert's motion to continue item number 44 to the November 10th council meeting. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on November the 10th.
Thank you. I believe we have at least one more paper to go through, don't we?
Yes, item number 45, which is ordinance number 2014-151, to provide granting by the city the right and privilege to use 600 North 5th Street for parking. That paper is before you.
Thank you. I believe we have a bidding process to complete for this lease.
That is correct. I have one bid received in accordance with the advertisement.
And thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you please open that bid and mark it for identification? Thank you, Madam Clerk. For the public's information, I'm going to briefly summarize this bid that we've received. This is a bid received from Biotech 8 LLC. It states that it is the owner of the building located at 737 North 5th Street, and it bids to lease 68 spaces in the parking garage located at 600 North 5th Street, pursuant to terms and conditions of the agreement and the deed of parking lease, except that it proposes that the rent, as defined in Section 4 of the lease, be $70 per space per month. Are there any other further bids to offer? In other words, does anybody have another bid for this? No. All right. Seeing none, if there are no other bids, then we're going to move forward with this bid. I declare the bidding period closed, and at this time we'll ask staff to present any recommendations related to the bids received. Is there anyone here from the administration who can speak to the bid? Hi, Mr. Downey.
Hello. Lee Downey of Economic and Community Development. Now, you're just looking for background on this?
What we're looking for is a recommendation as to whether or not this bid should be approved or disapproved.
Yeah, the recommendation, yes, recommendation is to approve the bid. This is an area that's seeing a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity. This is an industry sector, industry sector that's identified as one of our target areas and has seen a lot of success. So the recommendation is to accept it. I guess that's the way I put it.
Thank you. Your knowledge, like you've said, there's no other bids?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Does any member of council desire to move that this ordinance be continued to allow for further investigation or staff review of this bid, or shall we vote on it tonight? Mr. Hilbert, I saw you mouth the words now. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. Well, that being the case, then, unless there's an objection, the bid from Biotech 8 LLC being the only bid received for this lease, I would be happy to accept a motion to accept this bid and adopt ordinance number 2014-151. Is there such a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the bid at $70 per month per space and amend the terms of the lease so that that is accurately reflected.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agelasto. Ms. Vice President, did I hear you say second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Made by Mr. Agelasto, seconded by the Vice President. This motion is the motion to accept the bid is made and seconded. Now we're going to have a public hearing on the ordinance. Would anyone who is in favor or opposed line up to speak? All right, seeing nobody in favor or in opposition to it, I'd ask that the clerk bring it back to council for any discussion. Seeing none, I'd ask the clerk to call the question, please.
Council's voting on item number 45, ordinance number 2014-151, as stated by President Samuels. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, if you would be so kind as to add the name of the successful bidder in the blank in the ordinance, I'd greatly appreciate that.
Will do. Those are all of the regular agenda items that we have for this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Do we have any expedited resolutions?
We do have one item for expedited consideration, and that is resolution number 2014-R162, and that's to provide an expenditure in the amount of $3,567.22 from the council district funds for the 5th District to pay Prince Mark, Inc. for printing and mailing of 5th District July 2014 newsletters and to 5th District residents. I will need a motion for expedited consideration of that paper. Councilman Hilbert, will you make that motion? Will you make the motion for expedited consideration for Resolution 2014-R162?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Council is voting on Councilman Hilbert's motion for expedited consideration of Resolution number 2014-R162. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels? That paper is before you for consideration.
Thank you. Councilmember Graziano, I believe that you are not the 5th District, you're the 4th. My apologies, Mr. Agelasto. Is there anything you want to say about this, or are you just asking for our support so you can get your newsletter out?
Just asking for your support.
Very good. Are there those in the audience tonight that wish to speak in favor or opposed to this paper? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for any further discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Yes, council is voting on resolution number 2014-R162. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. There are no other expedited papers. Can we move on to motions to amend and continue?
Yes. Starting with item number 4, I actually have 2 proposed amendments. And item number 4 is ordinance number 2014-94. That's to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 1619 and 1621 West Broad Street for the purpose of permitting a nightclub use. And the proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 18, after the inserted letter M, insert the text, 1 year after the effective date of this ordinance, the property owner shall request that the City Planning Commission hold a public hearing at which it shall review the special use permit to evaluate whether the special use of the property tends to be detrimental to the safety, health, morals, or general welfare of the community. If the commission finds that the special use of the property is not detrimental to the safety, health, morals, or general welfare of the community, no further action shall be required. If the commission finds the special use of the property tends to be detrimental to the safety, health, morals, and general welfare of the community, the commission may recommend to the City Council that this ordinance be amended or that the privileges granted by this ordinance be revoked. Page 6, line 4, at the beginning of the line, insert the letter N. Page 6, line 11, after the word permit, strike the word pursuant to and insert the word notwithstanding. Page 6, line 12, after the word through, insert the text 114-1050.8 and pursuant to the provision of sections 114-1050.9 through 114-1050.11. Page 6, line 13, after the word amend, strike the comma and insert the text A. The property owner does not abate the violation within 30 days of the issuance of the notice, or B, 3 notices of violation are issued to the property owner within a 12-month period. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as presented and to continue that paper to Monday, October the 30th, if that is the desire of council. Is there a motion to accept that amendment as presented?
Madam Clerk, I don't hear a motion.
No motion. That proposed amendment has failed. The second proposed amendment to item number 4, ordinance number 2014-94, is as follows. Page 5, line 18, after the letter M, insert the paragraph 1 year after the effective date of the ordinance. The property owner shall request that the City Planning Commission hold a public hearing at which it shall review the special use permit to evaluate whether the special use of the property tends to be detrimental to the safety, health, morals, and general welfare of the community. If the commission finds that the special use of the property is not detrimental to the safety, health, morals, and general welfare of the community. No further action shall be required. If the Commission finds that the special use of the property tends to be detrimental to the safety, health, morals, and general welfare of the community, the Commission may recommend that the City Council of this ordinance be amended or that the privileges granted by this ordinance be revoked. Page 6, line 4. At the beginning of the line, insert the letter N. Page 6, line 7. After the period following the word revoked, delete the word upon and insert the text during the first 365 days after the effective date of this ordinance. Upon nothing that a condition of a special use permit has been violated, and zoning administrator shall issue a written notice of violation to the property owner. The notice shall inform the property owner which conducts or which condition or conditions have been violated, the nature of the violation, and that the City Planning Commission shall hold a public hearing at which it shall review the violation and the special use permit, notwithstanding the provision of Section 114-1050.7 through 114-1050.8, and pursuant to the provision of Section 114-1050.9 through 114-1050.11 of the Code of the City of Richmond, 2004, as amended. After the first 365 days after the effective date of this ordinance, upon. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as read and to continue it until Monday, October the 3rd. Is there a motion to accept the proposed amendment as presented?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Council is voting on Councilwoman Graziano's motion to accept the proposed amendment to item number 4, ordinance number 2014-94 as presented, and to continue it to Monday, October the 13th. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on Monday, October the 13th. Next, we have item number 14, which is ordinance number 2014-157. That is to conditionally rezone a portion of 6508 Jank Road from the R2 Single Family Residential District to the R53 Multifamily Residential District into the R7 Single and Two Family Urban Residential District. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 2, line 16, after the word entitled, strike the opening quotation marks and the word first and insert opening quotation marks followed by the word second. Page 2, line 17, after the word dated, strike the date April 17 and insert the date September 5th. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as follows and to continue that paper to Monday, October the 13th. Councilor Mosby, will you make that motion? Council is voting on Councilor Mosby's motion to accept the proposed amendment to item number 14, ordinance number 2014-157 as presented, and to continue that paper to Monday, October the 13th. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano? Aye. Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That motion is passed. That paper will be before you again on Monday, October the 13th. Next, we have item number 17, which is ordinance number 2014-160. That's to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 25 and 27 North Belmont Avenue to permit the use as a restaurant.
Madam Clerk?
Yes.
I need to continue this paper to October 13th, please.
Mr. Baliles, I hear you making a motion to continue ordinance number 2014-160
Correct.
to October 13th. Is there a second? Thank you very much. Any discussion? Seeing none.
Council is voting on Councilor Baliles' motion to continue item number 17, ordinance number 2014-160, seconded by Councilwoman Mosby. Mr. Baliles.
Aye.
Ms. Graziano. Ms. Mosby. Mr. Agelasto.
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Ms. Newbille.
Aye.
Vice President Robertson.
Aye.
President Samuels.
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on October the 13th. Next, we have item number 24, ordinance number 2014-167. That's to amend Chapter 58, Article 4 of the City Code by adding a new Division 2 for establishing the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Oversight Board. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 3, line 2, after the words including the, strike the words member of City Council and insert the text members designated by subdivisions 1 through 4 and 9 and 10 of subsections A of this section. Page 3, line 4, after the word members, insert a comma in text, including the members designated in subdivisions 5 through 8 in subsection A of this section. Page 3, line 7, after the word years, insert a comma and the text, except for the initial members of whom one member appointed by the City Council and one member appointed by the mayor shall be appointed to one-year terms. 2 members appointed by City Council and 1 member appointed by the mayor shall be appointed to 2-year terms, and 2 members appointed by the City Council and 2 members appointed by the mayor shall be appointed to 3-year terms to facilitate the staggering of member terms. The member of City Council shall be appointed by resolution of the City Council in the same manner as appointments to standing committees of the City Council, and shall be made for a term that shall expire as provided in such resolution. Any member may be appointed to a 3rd term after 1 year from the date of the last day of such member's 2nd term. Page 4, line 8, after the word to, strike the word administer and insert the word oversee. Page 5, line 11, after the word least, strike the word monthly and insert the word quarterly. Page 5, line 20, after the word following the period, insert the words Council Chief of Staff and the. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to item 24 as presented and to continue it to Monday, October the 13th. Councilwoman Trammell, will you make that motion?
The move, Madam Clerk.
Council is voting on Councilwoman Trammell's motion to accept the proposed amendment to item 24, ordinance number 2014-167 as presented, and to continue that paper to Monday, October the 13th. Mr. Baliles? Aye. Ms. Graziano? Aye. Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto? Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille? Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on Monday, October the 13th. Next, we have item number 25, which is ordinance number 2014-168. That's to authorize a special use of 3409 Williamsburg Avenue, 4300 Williamsburg Avenue, and 116 Nicholson Street for a brewery. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 5, after the word avenue, strike the word and insert a comma. After the word street, insert a comma and the text a portion of right-of-way known as Lewis Street and a portion of right-of-way known as 37th Street. Page 1, line 13, after the comma following the word street, insert the text a portion of right-of-way known as Lewis Street and a portion of right-of-way known as 37th Street. Page 3, line 9, after the word assessor, insert the text and a portion of right-of-way known as Lewis Street and a portion of right-of-way known as 37th Street, close to the public use and travel by ordinance. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as read and to continue it to Monday, October the 13th.
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilor Trammell. Council is voting on Councilor Trammell's motion to accept the proposed amendment to item 25 as presented. Mr. Baliles.
Aye. Aye.
Ms. Graziano.
Aye.
Ms. Mosby. Mr. Agelasto. Mr. Hilbert.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Ms. Newbille.
Aye.
Vice President Robertson.
Aye.
President Samuels.
Aye.
That motion has passed, and that paper will be before you again on Monday, October the 13th. And item number 46, which is ordinance number 2014-156, to rezone 1308 Sherwood Avenue and 1213, 1215, 1217, 1219, 1221, and 1223 Brooklyn Parkway from the R3 single-family residential district to the International District. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 4, after the word avenue, strike the text and 1213, 1215, 1217, 1219, 1221, and 1223 Brooklyn Parkway. Page 1, line 12, after the word showing, strike the text 2 parcels and insert the text 4.557 acres. Page 1, line 13, after the word avenue, strike the words in the south line of Brooklyn Parkway. Page 1, line 14, after the comma following the year 2014, strike the word and. Page 1, line 15, after the comma following the year 2014, insert the text and last revised August 18, 2014. Page 1, line 16, after the word following, strike the word properties and insert the word property. After the word parcel, strike the word numbers and insert the word number. Page 1, line 17, after the comma following the word assessor, strike the word are and insert the word is. Page 2, line 5, at the beginning of the line, strike the text 1213 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/007, 1215 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/008, 1217 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/009, 1219 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/010, 1221 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/011, 1223 Brooklyn Parkway, tax parcel number N 000-0858/012. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper and to continue it to Monday, October the 13th as presented. Councilman Baliles, will you make that motion? Council is voting on Councilman Baliles' motion to accept the proposed amendment to item 46 as presented and to continue that paper to Monday, October the 13th. Mr. Baliles? Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto? Aye. Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted and will be before you again on Monday, October the 13th.
Madam Clerk, am I correct that that ends the motions to amend and continue?
That is correct.
As I see it, we have approval of the minutes, reports and announcements, and introduction of new papers left.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Number 34. How come we didn't speak about number 34? That's in my district.
Well, I hope to be able to answer that for you. Just one second. Let me look it up. All right, so number 34 was on the consent agenda. It was listed as being retained on the consent agenda at our informal, and then when we made our amendments during the formal council meeting, we did not make any changes to it being on the consent agenda. So it was approved unanimously when we did the consent agenda.
All right. How do we, I really don't want to discuss that here, but there is something, and I think Mr. Marshall might know a little bit about this paper. But anyway, I wanted to be continued.
Okay.
Because the civic associations are not down here. I don't think that we even knew that this was coming up tonight.
You don't think they'd approve of replacing the train lines?
I'm sorry?
You don't think they'd approve of replacing the train lines?
No, it's not 34. It's the authorized the special use of the property known as 2216 Keswick Avenue, the purpose of a single family.
I'm sorry, I was looking at number 34. What number are you talking about?
I'm on 34. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's no problem. Everybody has those days. That is a paper that's going to be introduced tonight at the end of the meeting, not voted on. It's in the introduction of papers.
Okay, but, I wanted to make sure that I can get the word out to those civic associations that have concerns about this.
So what will happen is first it's going to go to a committee. In this case, it's going to go to the Planning Commission on October 6th. So that would be your neighborhood association's first chance to speak on it would be to the Planning Commission. And after that, if they send it back to council, the first public hearing on it for City Council will be October 13th. And if you need more than a month, that's totally fine. Just ask to have it continued, and we will tally up the votes. I'm sure you'll be able to get them since it's in your district.
All right, thank you.
Sure thing. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. Approval of minutes is what's next?
Yes. I need a motion to approve the minutes as follows. Special meeting on Monday, July 7th at 5 p.m. Informal on Monday, July 14th at 3 p.m. Formal Monday, July 14th at 6 p.m. And special meeting on Tuesday, August 5th at 9 a.m. Ms. Graziano, will you make that motion to approve the minutes? Council is voting on Ms. Graziano's motion to approve the minutes as read. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Oh.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
Minutes has been approved.
Madam Clerk, may I just ask a question? Is that for the July meeting or the special meeting? Or for both? For both? I need to abstain on the August meeting. I wasn't here.
Would Mr. Jackson, if we wanted to basically void that vote and remake the motion so that the parties who were not here for the August meeting can abstain should they so desire, is the appropriate motion to come from the person that made the original?
Moving to reconsider can be made by any person who voted in support of the original.
All right, Ms. Graziano, you voted in support. Would you move to reconsider?
Absolutely.
Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Baliles. Any objections? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you please call the vote on a motion to reconsider?
Motion to reconsider. Motion to reconsider the approval of the minutes. Mr. Baliles? Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Ms. Mosby? Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye. Now that we have moved to reconsider, would you please call the roll on the original motion?
Yes. The motion on the original motion, that is to approve the special meeting for July 7th, the informal for July 14th, the formal for July 14th, and the special meeting for August 5th. Mr. Baliles?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Graziano?
I accept for the special meeting in August.
Okay.
To which you
Not here.
Okay. Ms. Mosby?
Would you abstain?
All except the special meeting in August abstain.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Mr. Hilbert?
Aye, except for that August meeting as well, where I'm abstaining.
All right. Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbille?
Aye.
Vice President Robertson?
Aye.
President Samuels?
Aye.
The minutes has been adopted.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Reports and announcements. Are there volunteers? Mr. Baliles.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two announcements. One is a First District Town Hall meeting on Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. at Albert Hill Middle School. Will be the meeting for the fall. And on a probably more fun note, there's a great event I just wanted the people watching to know about this coming Sunday, which I believe is the 14th of September at Center Stage. It's a program called Curtains Up. It's all the performing arts troops in the city, from Alegba Folklore Society to the Virginia Opera Richmond Symphony, professional local theater. It's kind of like the Culture Expo that Culture Works runs, where you can experience all of the great performing arts in the city under one roof in one evening. It starts at 6 o'clock on Sunday the 14th, and it's geared specifically towards people that may have never gone to the opera or the symphony or a local professional theater. So it's kind of a greatest hits of everything that Richmond has to offer. And you can find out more at Richmond Center Stage. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Baliles. Ms. Graziano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to have a president's meeting, a meeting of my Civic Association presidents. That's Thursday, September 18th. That's at my house at 7 o'clock. And then a district meeting Tuesday, September 30th at 7 o'clock at St. Luke's Church. And we got something today that that was passed out concerning the SRVA conference. And so what does that stand for? It says on September 11th, 2014, individuals and organizations will gather to consider the development of a sustainability agenda for the Richmond region. It's going to be held at the Science Museum, September 11th from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And anyone who's interested is encouraged to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Graziano. Ms. Mosby.
Thank you. I have a few announcements. Tomorrow, Tuesday, September 9th, Ms. Alma Moore, the chair, will have her 9th District Midlothian Team Civic Meeting at 4100 Hall Street, which is the Southside Social Services Building. On Wednesday, I will be having the 9th District Public Safety Forum at 4100 Hall Street in the main lobby, and this is September 10th, Wednesday. And this is just an information meeting so that we will know our part. Everybody needs to know the part that they play. We need to know what our legal rights are. We need to know what the police rights are, and we just need to be informed. So I'm asking you to please come out to this public safety forum at 4100 Hull Street, Main, in the lobby. Thursday, September 11th, I have a Career and Tech Educational Commission meeting at the Richmond Technical Center, 2020 Westwood Avenue. I'm asking all board members to please come out to that meeting. And Thursday, September 18th, is the 9th District Community-wide District Meeting at the Goodwill, Central Virginia at 6301 Midlothian Turnpike. And then Monday, October 6th, 9th District Faith Leaders Roundtable at 4100 Hull Street. I'm asking all of our faith leaders in the 9th District to please come out. As always, I'd love to hear from you, and I can be reached at michelle.mosby@richmondgov.com or my liaison, uzziah.harris@richmondgov. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mosby. Any other volunteers? Mr. Agelasto.
Thank you, Council President. I think we had a long discussion about fire and police tonight, and Mr. Dorsey also reminded us that September 11th will be this Thursday. And as part of the commemoration of September 11th, it's the National Day of Service, and I highly encourage everybody in our city to get out and lend a helping hand where you can, whether that means donating blood, going to help at Feed More, going to a local fire station and washing the trucks for our firefighters. Find something that you can do on September the 11th and give back and volunteer in the ways that only you can. And I think that's very important. There are a lot of programs that the city is offering, and there will be an event on Marshall Street near City Hall at 8:30 on September the 11th. On Tuesday, September the 9th, the Swansboro West Civic Association is going to be meeting. This is a group that has not met in a few years, and we've reformed them. This is for those folks near Bainbridge, Clopton area. That meeting will take place Tuesday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. at St. Francis Home, located at 65 West Clopton Street. And I encourage any residents nearby to please join in with the Civic Association. Monday, September 15th, the Maymont Civic League will meet at the Stone Barn at Maymont at 6 p.m. On Tuesday, September 23rd, the Oregon Hill Neighborhood Association will meet at 7 p.m. at the William Byrd Community House. Also on Monday, September 15th, the Randolph group will be meeting at the Randolph Community Center, and that will begin at 7 p.m. On September 30th, the Woodland Heights Civic Association will be meeting at the Woodland Heights Baptist Church at 7 p.m. Our next district cleanup, and we do these once a month from April till October, And our September cleanup will occur on Saturday the 20th, and we'll be meeting at the Carillon Bell Tower in Bird Park at 9 a.m., and we're conducting cleanups in the Carillon and Maymont neighborhoods, pending how many volunteers we have signed up. You can sign up by going on to Hands On Greater Richmond's website and register, and we'll keep you informed there, or to contact my office, and I'll give my contact information in one moment. The last announcement is kind of an exciting thing, and this is going back to Mr. Hilbert and I's competition when it came to the basketball season and our George Wythe Bulldogs. We're rooting for the football team this year, and in doing so, for every touchdown point they score, up until November 17th, we're going to be working with community partners to donate a turkey to families in the 5th District. So every touchdown is a turkey, and we're going to hope that those George Wythe Bulldogs score lots of touchdowns so that we can be giving away lots of turkeys to 5th District families that need a very nice Thanksgiving. If you're interested in becoming a community partner to help us with this initiative, please contact Ida Jones at 804-690-7339. My contact information, anybody, anytime, please feel free to email me. It's Parker, Parker, .agelasto, AGELASTO, @richmondgov.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll look forward to serving you in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agelasto. Since we seem to be working in a counterclockwise rotation, I'll call on Mr. Hilbert next.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next Education and Human Services Committee meeting will be Wednesday, September the 17th, here in Council Chambers, 900 East Broad Street, at 5 o'clock. The agenda items will have a presentation from Mr. Rufus Fleming, the Director of Justice Services, on the utilization of alternatives to incarceration and jail capacity, with the jail opening with less than capacity, so we appreciate the efforts of Justice Services in making that happen and hope that that continues. We'll also hear from Tim Cole, the Program Director of Sept, Strategies to Elevate People program in the Gilpin Court community. Excuse me. Today I was at had the privilege of being at the beginning of the 150th anniversary of Virginia Union University. A bridge to intellectual freedom was the message today that we heard from Dr. Randall Robertson, who's a law professor and an alumnus of the university, who said he was there for the first time in 47 years today. Council will be presenting I'll be presenting a resolution on behalf of Council recognizing this and looking forward to other events as we celebrate Virginia Union sesquicentennial, the biggest employer in Northside, and we certainly appreciate their efforts in making our city, state, nation, and world a better place. The 3rd District meeting will be on September the 24th, 6 o'clock at Pine Camp, 4901 Old Brook Road. The agenda will be the Richmond Police Department will make a presentation. Also, over the past year, I've invited several council members to be present at 3rd District meetings, and this month I'm pleased to announce that Michelle Mosby from the 9th District has agreed to come to our meeting and discuss her vision, goals, and current projects for the city as a whole. I think it is important that all individuals within the district get to meet as many council members as they can. So I appreciate everyone's effort to come to a 3rd District meeting. Hope that you will join us on September the 24th, 6 o'clock, for a presentation from the police and a visit from 9th District Councilperson Michelle Mosby. If you would like to receive an email, if you want to be on our email distribution list to receive district announcements, please send your email to lisa.towns, TOWNES, at richmondgov.com, or call her at 804-646-6055. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. Ms. Trammell.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to thank all the presidents that participated in the National Night Out. On Tuesday, August the 5th, I think there was 14 in the 8th District, and those presidents and those vice presidents and all their the citizens that helped them, they worked very, very hard to put these National Night Outs together, along with the police officers and firefighters who are willing to help them pass out flyers, make phone calls, and even try to let the citizens know that this is what community policing is all about. It's all of us working together. And also, I'd like to thank the Richmond police officers that took the children shopping with the cop. You know, that's in Richmond. You know, I know that a lot of times our police officers and our firefighters do not get the credit that they deserve, but you must ask yourself, where would we be without them? And there are neighborhoods that these officers and these firefighters go in that the children sometimes don't even see a male or female in uniform unless they come through there, because they want to reach out to our children and to the seniors and check on them to see if they're okay and if they need anything, and to answer their phone calls when they give them their cell numbers. So I just want to say thank you to our police officers and our firefighters that go way beyond the call of duty and get less pay than what the surrounding counties pay them. On next Thursday, September the 18th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we're going to have our 8th District meeting, and it says Reva and the men and women in blue who take care of you. This is our flyer. It's got our police officers, the captains, the lieutenants, the majors, our police chief, and they're going to be there to help us with our neighborhood issues. Anything that you want to talk about, just come there, meet them, meet your sector lieutenant, meet your captains, and let them know what kind of issues or problems that you have in your neighborhood. Even business owners, they're welcome to come. And I'd like to thank the motel owners that come from the Jefferson Davis corridor and other business owners that come to get the information and to meet our officers, and they have that trust where they can talk to them one-on-one and know that it's not going to go no further than what they tell them. So again, that's going to be next Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., September the 18th, at the Satellite, 4000 block of Jefferson Davis. If you have any questions, you can call my home. My home number is 233-7382. That's my home. And my personal cell is 240-5050. It's 240-5050. Please give me a call if you have any questions. Also, on Tuesday, September the 23rd, that's Tuesday, September the 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to have another Senior Day. This is our 3rd annual Senior Day for our seniors. And that's going to be held at the Hickory Hill Community Center, 3000 Belt Boulevard in Richmond, 23224. Again, that's going to be next Tuesday, September the 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event is free. We're going to have, I'm quite sure, the police officers, firefighters, along with about 30 to 40 other vendors will be there helping our seniors with all kinds of information. It's a health fair, elder homes, fitness, nutrition, which we all can use that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So please come next Tuesday, September 23rd. If you have any questions, you can call my home, 233-7382. That's 233-7382, or my personal cell, 240-5050. This right here is your free smoke alarm. If you call 646-1526, you can get, they're not going to leave this with you. They will come to your home, these firefighters, not the police officers, but the firefighters. They will come to your home. They will install this for free. And believe me, this is probably about the only thing that's free in the city right now, so take advantage of it. Or go to your nearest fire station and tell those firefighters that you want them to come to your house, check your smoke alarm, and if you need a new one, they'll put it up, and if you need a battery, they will install the battery. So please, please remember these smoke alarms. They will save your life, they'll save your home, and they'll save your pets. But you must have a working smoke alarm for it to save you. So please take advantage of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Dr. Newbille.
I have two announcements. The first one, the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Community Facilities, and I cordially invite you to come out this Saturday, September 13th at 9:30 a.m. to the Gillies Creek newly renovated football field dedication. We're looking forward to this new field and lots of wear and tear. And so for more information, please call Ms. Tamara Jenkins at 646-1087. Again, the Gillies Creek newly renovated football field dedication this Saturday, September 13th, 9:30 a.m., 900 Stony Run Road. Second announcement, I would like to encourage all East End 7 District residents to come out and attend the Churchill North Charrette. It is a public meeting whereby community stakeholders will come together to identify priorities and map solutions as we look at transformation of the Churchill North neighborhood. There are 2 dates for your participation, Tuesday, September 16th from 6 to 8 p.m., and then Wednesday, September 17th, first from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then that same day, Wednesday, September 17th, from 6 to 8 p.m. Both dates, the location for the charrette will be the East District Family Resource Center, 2405 Jefferson Avenue. Your participation is essential to ensuring that this plan reflects you and your neighbors' ideas, priorities, and recommendations. Again, Tuesday, September 16th from 6 to 8 p.m., Wednesday, September 17th, 9 to 4, 6 to 8, East District Family Resource Center, 2405 Jefferson Avenue. Please come out, let your voices be heard about the Churchill North Neighborhood Transformation Plan. Thank you.
Vice President Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few announcements. On Wednesday of this week, September the 10th, there will be a pre-planning meeting by a group of citizens that will be meeting at Fifth Street Baptist Church in Highland Park in the 2800 block at 5:30 for the purpose of planning for a larger community meeting which will be held on September the 27th at the Senior Citizen High Rise at 1711 4th Avenue. The purpose of that meeting is to get the community together to really seriously start talking about how we move the Highland Park redevelopment plan of the former Dove Court community, put that back on the agenda, and make sure that we're moving forward with the redevelopment. We are in phase 1, and we should be farther along into the next phase of the development, but it's gotten off track, and so this meeting is for the purpose of getting citizens engaged and pointing them to a task force to work with the administration, the Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority, as well as with the schools to make sure that we continue the development of that tract of land in Highland Park. On the 13th, which is this Saturday, we will be having our regular town meeting. It will be held at the Richmond Time-Dispatch, located at the corners of 3rd and Franklin Street. The registrar's office will be present for those persons who need IDs for voting. They can come to this meeting and we can take care of that on the spot. We also had a meeting with several of the department heads and realized that of the number of citizen service requests, the 6th district probably has the least number of requests. So we will have a representative from the city for the C-Click with the apps where you can load that down on your phones, and also a training session so that we can increase the level of services. If we don't put in our requests, they're going somewhere, and so I want to make sure that the 6th district get their fair share of services, as does the other districts in the city of Richmond. In addition to that, we will be talking about all of the developments and services that are funded in this year's budget, and about upcoming legislation, including the legislation that's being proposed by the gentleman from the 5th District in regards to establishing rental zones, the tax rate papers that are before us, and some other critical legislation that is forthcoming. On September the 23rd, there will be a meeting targeting those that are bus riders in the city of Richmond. We've had lots of complaints from citizens throughout the city in regards to the transfer station. There was someone tonight that spoke about the fact that people feel that we've moved bus riders out of view by putting them at the transfer station. We had Greater Richmond Transit, each bus driver, to give out a survey for every rider that got on the bus over the last week. They have a return of about 950 surveys. Those surveys are being tallied at the present time, and the results from those surveys will be used for an open discussion on the 23rd here at City Hall at 5:30, so that we can really get a good feel for how well the transfer station is working, how well the changes in times of bus routes and so forth is working, so that we can factor that information into our policy decision as it relates to the continuation of services and funding for Greater Richmond Transit. Also on September the 18th, I have asked for the program committee of the Facilities Task Force of Richmond Public Schools. A couple of months ago, Mr. President, you asked me to serve on that task force. And as you very well know, we've done lots of tours, and I know different council members have been on some of the tours that have been done, and looking at schools and the condition that schools are in and the repair works that is needed for schools. One of the committees that I serve on is called the Program Committee, and that committee is responsible for looking at future design of our schools. The committee has preliminarily recommended that we continue with the same design that we've used for the last 4 schools that have been built, which are called community schools. So on the 18th, we're going to be looking at that information very critical. We talked about community schools when we talked about building these schools, but I'm not absolutely sure that the design is fully as reflective of what community schools are. And so there will be a meeting of the committee for the purpose of evaluating that, with the hope that if this model is not sufficient as it has been employed with the buildings that have been built so far, that we can look at what other changes are needed so that we have real community school, that we are really building community schools. And lastly, on October the 11th is our town meeting for the month of October, and we will be focusing on a new initiative, which is parenting leadership, where there's going to be a significant emphasis placed on how we put our children first, how we provide for better safety for our children in our neighborhoods, how we address issues that kids have as far as healthcare services, parenting roles, and how we can support our parents in their leadership in raising their children. So that meeting will also be held at the Richmond Times-Dispatch at 10 o'clock on October the 11th. And lastly, I would just like to say I appreciate your vote of confidence for Michael Winborn as the new liaison for the 6th District. He comes with a lot of energy, very aggressive. He's very excited about the job that he's doing. He's a breath of fresh air on the floor upstairs. He's a very intelligent young man. We're looking forward to great things that he's going to be able to do to help us in the 6th District and assist the citizens. And so I just want to remind them of his phone number is 646-7964. His email address is michael.winborne, WINBORNE, @richmondgov.com. And he is also asking citizens to please give him a call so that he can update our database with correct phone numbers and email addresses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President Robertson. Ms. Trammell, I think you wanted to say one other thing.
Mr. President, Chris is going to say.
Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you. It's my sad duty to report that former 3rd District Congressman, 3rd District Council liaison under my predecessor and a longtime City of Richmond employee, Newbille Robinson, passed away on September the 3rd. I know those of you that have been around City Hall for a while know Newbille and his wonderful service to the city. So on behalf of the 3rd District residents, I want to express our condolences to his family and thank him for his service. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hilbert. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We'll keep his family and friends in our thoughts and prayers.
And, Mr. President, while we're on that subject, I saw in the paper today that Ed Duffy, who was the city clerk for 10 years, and prior to that, the assistant city clerk, wasn't Ed Duffy? Yeah, died also. And he also gave many years of service to the city.
Thank you, Ms. Graziano. We'll keep that in mind and his family in our prayers as well.
Just one note to add to that. Council did honor him at his, I believe it was his 101st birthday about 7 or 8 months ago at a ceremony at his house.
That's right.
And he will be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Baliles. I was a little afraid you were going to tell me another person had passed away. Vice President Robertson? No? Okay. Hard news, but it's great to see people's life work and what they've achieved through their diligence. Tomorrow on September 9th at 7 p.m., the Rosedale Civic Association will be holding their quarterly meeting in the Guild Solarium, which is at the Hermitage, the assisted living facility located at 1600 Westwood Avenue. On Saturday, September 13th, the City of Richmond is going to be hosting an electronics recycling and document shredding event, and that's going to be at 1710 Robin Hood Road on September 13th, this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's in the field across the street from the Arthur Ashe Center. This is a free event to recycle things that are difficult to recycle. There is one exception. There's a $7 fee to recycle old televisions. On Monday, September 15th, the Museum District Board will be meeting at 7 p.m. at St. Gertrude's High School. That's located at 3215 Stewart Avenue. On the 16th, Historic Jackson Ward Association will be meeting at Club 533. That's located at the corner of 3rd and East Jackson. Parking is in the rear. September 23rd, the Robinson Street Association will be meeting at 6 p.m. at Retreat Hospital. That's 110 North Robinson Street. On the 30th, the Carver Area Civic Improvement League will be meeting at VCU's Carver Community Center, which is 1103 West Marshall. And that meeting begins at 7 p.m. On October 1st, Scott's Addition Civic Association will be meeting at 8:30 at Riverside Pace McTavish. That's 1300 McTavish Avenue in beautiful, centrally located Scott's Addition. And on Monday, October 6th, the Fan District Association will be meeting as well, 208 Strawberry Street. The Fan District Association also met tonight. Mr. Agelasto and I weren't able to make it as we were previously engaged here. Lastly, as a reminder, City Council approved legislation this past April, which removed the second formal City Council meeting in the months of June, July, August, September, I believe November, and December. In these months, we only hold one formal council meeting on the second Monday of the month. Therefore, the reason all of our announcements were so long tonight is we had to get an entire month worth of events in because we don't get a chance to see you all on TV again for another whole month. Our next council meeting is October 13th. Unless there are any other comments made by council members, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please read the papers to be introduced tonight.
Papers for introduction this evening are as follows, and they all will be on the October 13th City Council meeting agenda. Ordinance number 2014-170 to authorize to execute a pole attachment agreement between the city and New Path Network for the purpose of attaching communication equipment to the city utility poles. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, Tuesday, September 16th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-171 to amend City Code Section 90-2 concerning the design and construction standard for streets, sidewalks, public ways, and public right-of-ways, requiring that such standard reflects the intent of the city that transportation improvement projects provide certain accommodations while promoting safety operation for all users. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-172 to provide for the granting by the city to a person, firm, or corporation the rights and privilege to use 201 East Great Street for parking. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-173 to name the planned pedestrian bridge across the James River as the T. Tyler Pitefield Memorial Bridge. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-174 to authorize an agreement between the city and Megabus Northeast LLC for the purpose of increasing the license fee, and extending non-exclusive rights to use certain bus stops, passenger boarding and waiting area at the plaza. Finance and Economic Development, Thursday, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-175 to amend the general fund budget for FY 2015 to transfer $160,000 to the Richmond City Health District for the purpose of establishing and maintaining a community navigation program in RHA communities. Finance and Economic Development, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-176 to execute a performance agreement between the city, the Economic Development Authority of the city, the Warwick Townhouse LLC, for providing an economic development grant to facilitate and construction and operation of townhouse at Warwick Place. Economic and Community Development, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-177 to amend City Code Section 98-121 to establish a tax rate of $1.18 beginning January 1st, 2014. Patron, Mr. Agelasto and President Samuels. Finance and Economic Development, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-178 to amend City Code Section 98-121 to establish a tax rate of $1.19 beginning January 1st, 2015. Patron, Mayor Jones. Finance and Economic Development, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-179 to amend City Code Section 98-121 to establish a tax rate of $1.19 beginning January 1st, 2014. Finance and Economic Development, September 18th at 3 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-180 to amend City Code Section 98-121 to establish a tax rate of $1.20 beginning January 1st, 2015. Finance and Economic Development, September 18th. Ordinance number 2014-181 to accept $37,500 from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services to transfer $37,500 in matching funds from fiscal year 2015 general fund budget and to appropriate the total amount of $75,000 to the Department of Justice Services for the purpose of funding the implementation of a continuous jail bed use planning process. Public Safety, September 23rd at 5 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-182 to accept $24,750 from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services to transfer $2,750 in matching funds from FY 2015 general fund budget and to appropriate the total amount of $27,500 for the purpose of providing services for youth, staff training, and equipment for a post-disposition program at the Juvenile Detention Center, Public Safety, September 23rd at 5 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-183 to amend the pay plan to include a new classification of Director of Emergency Communication in the unclassified executive service. Government operation, Thursday, September 25th at 5 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-184 to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of 730 East Broad Street for the purpose of a municipal office building. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-185 to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of 101 East Franklin Street for the purpose of a public library. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-186 to declare a public necessity for and to authorize the acquisition of 601 East Lee Street, 406 North 7th Street, and 408A North 7th Street for a sports complex and a convention center. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-187 to transfer and appropriate $900,000 from the school planning and construction project for the purpose of providing for the installation of Pacific technology infrastructure and equipment in the new Huguenot High School. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-188 to close to public use and travel a portion of Lewis Street and a portion of 37th Street. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-189 to authorize New Path Network to encroach upon the public right-of-way with proposed overhead and underground fiber optic cable, wires, conduits, handhold, and short-range cellular transmission encroachments. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-190 to conditionally rezone 508 and 510 North Adams Street from the R6 single family to the B6C non-mixed-use business district. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-191 to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 310 through 510 through 520 West Broad Street, 517 through 519 West Marshall Street, and 304 North Henry Street to permit the sale of alcoholic beverage for off-premises consumption at the existing retail drugstore. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-192 to authorize the special use of 116 East Brooklyn Park Boulevard for permitting the construction and occupancy of a funeral home chapel with accessory parking. Planning Commission, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-193 to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of Highland Park School for the purpose of reducing the residency age requirement for at least 80% of the occupancy units to person 55 years of age or older. Planning Commission, October 6th, 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-194 to authorize a special use of 2216 Kiswick Avenue for a single-family detached dwelling unit and a takeout restaurant. Planning Commission, October 6th, 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-195 to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 2910 Lamb Avenue for the purpose of authorizing the expansion of the building. Planning Commission, October 6, 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-196, to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of a portion of 3805 Cutshaw Avenue for the purpose of amending the site plan and removing the requirement to provide a rooftop deck and a subdivision and subdivide the property. Planning Commission, October 6, 1:30 p.m. Ordinance number 2014-197, to authorize a special use of a portion of 411 Bainbridge Street for a brewery. Planning Commission, October 6, 1:30 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R163, to appoint Alexander Anderson as a member of the Sister Cities Commission. Resolution number 2014-R164, to appoint Selena Carr as a member of the Sister City Commission. Resolution number 2014-R165, to appoint William Inger as a member of the Sister City Commission. Resolution number 2014-R166, to approve $2,940 from the Council District Fund for the printing and mailing of the 4th District September 2014 newsletter. Resolution number 2014-R167, to approve $2,500 from the Council District Funds for the 7th District to make a donation to the Fan Free Clinic to support its Sisters Speak Empowerment Camp program. Resolution number 2014-R163, to approve $417.50 from the Council District Fund for the 7th District to assist with costs associated with park rental for the Motivate Annual Community Program. Resolution number 2014-R169, to approve $848 from the Council District Fund for the 6th District to pay the staff costs associated with show mobile rental for the St. Elizabeth Jazz Festival. Resolution number 2014-R170, to approve $1,765 from the Council District Fund to pay for the printing and mailing of the 2nd District Summer 2014 newsletter. Resolution number 2014-R171, to approve $360 from the Council District Fund to pay Sal's Pizza for providing dinner at the August 21st, 2014 8th District meeting. Resolution number 2014-R172, to adopt a complete street policy for the City of Richmond. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R173, to support a project to provide funding for the Boulevard Street Gateway project and the city's application for $284,800 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation, September 16, 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R174, to support a project and provide funding to create a bike lane on Bank Street and Franklin Street, and to widen the sidewalk on the north side of Bank Street, and the city's application for $304,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use, Housing, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R175, to support a project to provide funding for the Canal Creek Trail Connector and to end the city's application for $240,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use, Housing, September 16, 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R176, to support a project to provide funding for the installation of a sidewalk along Carnation Street and the city's application for $480,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use, Housing, September 16. Resolution number 2014-R177, to support a project to provide funding for a pedestrian bridge over the I-95 ramp and the city's application for $480,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use, Housing, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R178 to support a project to provide funding for a pedestrian hybrid beacon to be constructed on East Broad Street, and the city's application for $80,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use Housing, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R179 to support a project to provide funding for pedestrian infrastructure improvement to connect Oak Road, Belmead Elementary School, and Menifee Street, and the city's application for $280,000 from the Transportation Alternative Program. Land Use Housing Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R180 to support the Chaco Economic Revitalization Strategies. Land Use Housing and Transportation, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R181 to request the mayor to seek regional participation in the city's effort to develop a minor league baseball stadium in the city. Finance and Economic Development, September 16th at 3 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R182 to approve the City of Richmond's plan of service under the Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act. Public Safety, September 23rd at 5 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R183 to amend the rules of procedure, removing the requirement that nominees to the city's boards or commission be present at the city council meeting when the council consider the appointment. Government operation, September 25th at 5 p.m. Resolution number 2014-R184 to request the CAO to issue a request for proposal for the proposal of selecting a development company for the Boulevard site. Organization development, October 6th at 5 p.m. Mr. President, that concludes the introductory papers for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Unless there's any other business the council member wants to bring up, this meeting is adjourned.
Well, we had a 3-hour meeting tonight. Got a late start because we had a very, very long informal meeting. That started. They started at 4 o'clock, but there were quite a few things to be discussed because they have not had a meeting since July. So a lot of things got discussed, and they had to go into executive session. We finally got out here. Called to order at 6:35, followed by appointments, reappointments, awards and presentations, agenda review. Then we got the consent agenda, which only took, about 10 minutes. And there were, all the papers were approved on the consent agenda. Got the citizens' comment period, then we got to the regular agenda at 7:25 this evening. The items that we've talked about, number 1 was item number 35, approved a budget for use by Economic Development Authority to program fund establishments pursuant to Tobacco Development Cooperation. This took a few minutes, but that was approved 9-0. The big one tonight seemed to be item number 44. Now, what this basically did, or what it would do, would transfer $135,000 from the Fire Department Career Development Plan to the Police Department Career Development Plan. And what they would do would equalize the amounts each one will be given as bonuses. A lot of discussion going on. We have 4 people speak against this. The consensus, from what I gather, was they prefer a salary increase rather than a one-time bonus. But after much discussion, Councilor Hilbert moved to continue the paper for 30 days for further study, then reconsidered and said, let's, instead of 30 days, let's go 60 days before we bring this back up again. Let's find out everything, the ins, the outs, the whole thing about it. So that paper, after, about 40 minutes, was finally continued for 60 days. So it'll come back up again on November 10th. Last paper was number 45. This granted a lease of 58 spots in a lot at 600 North 5th Street. Only one bid, and that was Biotech LLC. They offered a bid of $70 per month per space for the 58 spots, and that was approved. The administration said yes, they recommended approval, so in 3 minutes' time that was approved 9-0. Then we got to expedited consideration, several amendments tonight, then the approval of minutes, report from council, introduction of new papers, and now just about a little over 3 hours from the time we actually got started, we are done for the evening and done for the month of September for regular meetings. Don't forget to always can call a special meeting on the 4th Monday. That doesn't look like it's going to happen this time around. So our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on Monday, October 13th. The informal meeting will be starting at 4 o'clock probably. The formal meeting scheduled to start at 6 p.m. will be on the air at 5:45 that evening. So, till we meet again in 4 weeks, I'm Dick Harmon for Gavel to Gavel saying good night.